Have you ever, in a rare moment of stillness, heard a whisper from a version of yourself you thought was long gone, a quiet echo from a deep, internal place, speaking not in words, but in a feeling, a longing you cannot name, a sadness that seems to have no source, a flicker of joy at the simplest things, like the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the sight of a single cloud drifting across the sky? This echo, this feeling, is a call from home. It is the voice of the one who holds your most primordial memories, your first wounds, and your purest, most untarnished life force. It is the voice of your inner child. This is not a psychological concept to be analyzed. It is a living, breathing part of you, an energetic blueprint of who you were before the world told you who you should be. In the relentless storm of modern life, amidst the noise of expectations, ambitions, and digital distractions, we have lost the path back to this sacred part of ourselves. We have learned to silence its cries, to ignore its wisdom, to bury it under layers of responsibility and identity. We become accomplished adults, yet we walk through the world with a profound sense of inner exile, forever searching for a feeling of safety, of belonging, of unconditional love, without realizing that the one who needs this love most is waiting patiently within us. This journey we are about to embark upon is not one of fixing. You are not broken. It is a journey of remembering. It is an act of profound listening, a sacred homecoming. We will not be excavating the past to assign blame, but to reclaim treasure. We will walk back, gently, into the quiet garden of your own soul to find this child, to sit with them, to listen to their stories, and to finally give them the words of love, acceptance, and safety they have been waiting a lifetime to hear. This is an invitation to step through the door of your own perception and to begin the single most important journey you will ever take, the journey back to yourself. Let us begin by speaking of the loneliness that walks with you, the kind that can sit beside you in a crowded room, a silent companion that no one else can see. It is not the simple absence of people. It is an ache that lives deep within the architecture of your soul, a feeling of being on the outside of life, looking in. You have tried to fill this space. You have filled it with work, with relationships, with noise, with ambition. You have built a life of competence and strength, a testament to your resilience. And yet, in the quiet moments, after the guests have left, after the phone is put down, after the applause has faded, the silence that rushes in is not empty. It has a quality, a resonance. It is an echo. To understand this echo, I want you to imagine that your entire being, your consciousness, is a vast and sprawling house. This is the house of you. For years, you have focused on the front rooms, the ones the world gets to see. There is the living room of your personality, carefully decorated with humor and intelligence, where you entertain others. There is the office of your career, filled with the trophies of your hard work and the evidence of your capability. There is the gallery of your achievements, where your successes are hung on the walls for all to admire. You keep these rooms well lit, clean, and warm. They are proof that you are okay, that you have built a good and solid life. But this house is larger than you consciously know. There is a hallway that leads away from these bright, curated spaces. Perhaps you have noticed it from the corner of your eye. The light there is a little dimmer. The air is a little cooler. We learn very early on not to walk down that hallway. We learn that our attention is better spent in the active parts of the house. And so, we stay away. We might even lock the door at the end of that hall and throw away the key, convincing ourselves that whatever lies beyond is unimportant, that it belongs to a past we have outgrown. But nothing in the soul is ever truly lost. Behind that door, in a room you have not entered for decades, a part of you still resides. It is your inner child. This room is not a dungeon. It is not a haunted chamber. It is simply a room that has been forgotten. The furniture is covered in dusty sheets. The light from the window is thin, casting long shadows across the floor. And in the middle of this vast, silent room, the child sits. It is not crying loudly, not anymore. It learned a long time ago that no one was coming. The sound it makes now is quieter, more persistent. It is the hum of abandonment, the vibration of being unseen. This is the source of the echo. Every time you feel that sharp pang of loneliness when you see others connecting, that is the echo from the empty room. It is the child, pressing its face against the cold glass of the window, watching others play outside. Every time you feel that desperate, clawing need for validation, refreshing your screen for a notification, a comment, a sign that you exist and are valued, that is the echo. It is the child who once did a drawing and held it up to an adult who was too busy, too stressed, too distracted to truly see it. The drawing was put down, and with it, a part of the child's belief that its creations mattered. Think of the frantic busyness that defines so much of modern life. Our addiction to tasks, to schedules, to noise. We tell ourselves it is productivity, that it is the price of success. But for many of us, it is a sophisticated avoidance strategy. We are deliberately making so much noise in the front rooms of the house that we cannot hear the profound silence from the back room. We fill every moment with sound and fury, because the silence is where the echo lives. The silence is where the child's loneliness becomes audible. And we are terrified of what it will say, of the sheer scale of the sadness it holds. This is why you can be surrounded by people and feel utterly alone. The adult you, the master of the house, might be hosting a wonderful party in the living room. There is laughter, conversation, connection, but the party does not reach down the long, dark hallway. The child is still in its room, alone. The connections you make feel superficial because they are only happening in one part of the house. The most vulnerable, most essential part of you is not participating. It is not being seen. It is not being touched. And so a part of you remains perpetually starved of genuine connection. You must understand a crucial truth of the soul. For your inner being, time is not linear. The moment that child felt abandoned, the moment a parent left the room, the moment it was told its feelings were too much, that moment did not end. It is not a static memory stored in a dusty file. It became a living, vibrating frequency within your energy field. It is an event that is still happening, right now, in the physics of your soul. The echo is not a memory of loneliness. It is the loneliness itself, perpetually broadcast from that forgotten room into every corner of your present experience. The universe, in its profound intelligence, will often conspire to help you hear this echo. It will magnetize people and situations to you that reflect this core wound. The partner who is emotionally distant, the friend who is unreliable, the boss who never acknowledges your contributions. These are not punishments. They are reverberations. They are the universe's way of turning up the volume on the echo, hoping that this time you will finally stop and ask, where is this sound truly coming from? It is a compassionate invitation to stop looking for a solution outside and to finally turn your attention inward, to walk down that hallway. The first step on this journey of healing is not to burst into the room. That would frighten the child who has grown accustomed to solitude. It is not to renovate the room, to throw open the curtains and let in a flood of harsh light. That is too much, too soon. The first, most powerful, most transformative step is simply to stop running, to stop pretending the hallway doesn't exist. It is to walk, slowly, deliberately, down that corridor of your own inner world, to stand before the closed door. You don't have to open it yet. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be there. Stand there, in your imagination. Feel the floorboards beneath your feet. Acknowledge the silence, and send a single, gentle thought towards the door. A thought of recognition, a quiet whisper of your own. I know you are in there. I have been so busy. I am sorry I have stayed away for so long. I am here now. This is the beginning. This simple act of turning your awareness inward is an earthquake in the child's world. For the first time in years, perhaps in a lifetime, the suffocating silence of the room has been pierced by the sound of a footstep outside the door. The echo of abandonment begins to change its quality. It is still a lonely sound, but now it is a loneliness that is being witnessed. And in the act of sacred witnessing, everything can begin to change. You are signaling to the most vulnerable part of yourself that it is no longer entirely alone. The master of the house has finally come looking for it. The journey home has begun. Having stood at the threshold of the forgotten room, you have made a sacred promise to listen. But when you first press your ear to the door, the sounds you hear are not the clear, innocent words of a child. What comes through are the distorted, often frightening sounds of pain. What comes through is the language of your scars. We have been taught to fear this language. We call its dialects by many names: anxiety, anger, shame, numbness. We treat these feelings as hostile invaders, as evidence of our own brokenness. We medicate them, we suppress them, we distract ourselves from them, we fight them. We declare war on our own inner world, and then we wonder why we have no peace. The most profound shift in your healing journey begins when you realize this fundamental truth. Your difficult emotions are not your enemies. They are not malfunctions. They are messages. They are the only language the wounded child inside you has left to communicate its reality. They are the distress signals fired from a part of your soul that has been shipwrecked in the past. To learn the language of your scars is to become a translator for your own pain, to finally understand what the child has been trying to tell you all along. Let us start with anxiety, that frantic, buzzing energy that tightens your chest and steals your breath. That feeling of impending doom that seems to have no rational cause. You have been told this is a disorder, a chemical imbalance. And perhaps on one level, it is. But on a deeper spiritual level, anxiety is the embodied memory of unpredictability. It is the child who lived in a home where calm could shatter into chaos without warning. It is the child whose sense of safety was conditional, who had to constantly scan its environment for threats, for shifts in mood, for signs of disapproval. This child's body never learned how to fully stand down from high alert. And so today, your adult body replays that program. The racing heart, the churning stomach, this is not a new fear. This is an old fear, a scar that is being pressed upon. The child is screaming from its room, not in words, but in vibrations. Are we safe? Is it about to happen again? I don't trust this calm. Prove to me that we are safe now. Your anxiety is a desperate, repeated plea for a feeling of security that it was never given. Then there is anger, the sudden, volcanic rage that erupts over something trivial: a driver cutting you off, a promise unkept, a dismissive comment. The intensity of your reaction feels disproportionate, shameful even. You judge yourself for it, calling yourself volatile or out of control. But this anger is not about the traffic. It is the pure, righteous, unexpressed fury of the child whose boundaries were once crossed. It is the voice of the little one who was not allowed to say no, who was forced to be compliant, who had its personal space, its feelings, or its dignity violated. That powerlessness was so terrifying, so deeply wounding, that a part of you vowed it would never happen again, and so your adult self becomes a hyper-vigilant guardian. Your anger is a ferocious protector, rushing to the gate with a sword of fire at the slightest provocation. It is the scar of a violated boundary, and its message is not one of hatred, but of fierce protection. It is screaming, "Never again. I will not let you be small. I will not let you be silenced. I will keep us safe this time." What of numbness, that flat gray exhaustion where nothing seems to matter, the inability to feel joy or even significant sadness? We call it burnout or depression, and we see it as a lack of life force. But it is, in fact, an incredibly powerful act of self-preservation. This is the language of the child who learned that feeling anything was simply too dangerous. Its tears were ignored or punished. Its joy was dismissed. Its anger was forbidden. It learned that to survive, it had to retreat, to pull all of its vibrant energy deep inside to a place where nothing and no one could touch it. Numbness is the scar left by overwhelming emotional invalidation. It is the child in the room, hiding under the bed, making itself so still and so quiet that the monster in the hallway will hopefully pass by. The message of your numbness is a profound one. I am exhausted from feeling things that were never received. I cannot risk showing myself again until you prove to me that it is truly safe to feel. Imagine your scars not as ugly blemishes, but as ancient hieroglyphs carved into the stone walls of your soul. They tell the story of your origins, the epic of your survival. We fear them because we have forgotten how to read this sacred text. We see the jagged lines of anger, the chaotic script of anxiety, and we turn away. The work of healing is to become a patient scholar of yourself, to take a torch of gentle awareness and walk back into those inner chambers, to sit before these carvings not with an intention to erase them, but with a deep curiosity to understand them. This is the practice. The next time a wave of anxiety rises, do not immediately run from it. Do not dive for your phone or your to-do list. Pause. Close your eyes. And instead of getting lost in the story your mind is telling you about the future, drop your attention into your body. Where does the feeling live? Is it a tightness in your throat, a knot in your stomach, a vibration in your hands? Do not label it anxiety. Just feel it as pure energy, pure sensation. Then, with the tenderness of a perfect parent, ask the sensation, not with words, but with intent. What are you trying to tell me? What do you need right in this moment? You are not asking the mind. You are asking the scar itself. The answer may not come in a clear sentence. It may be a fleeting image from your childhood. It may be a single word that surfaces, like scared or alone. Or it may simply be a profound sense of needing to be held, of needing reassurance. When you do this, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are bypassing the judgmental adult mind and speaking directly to the child in the only language it currently knows, the language of the body, the language of energy. You are telling it, I feel you. I am not running away. Your message is being received. Each time you do this, you pour a balm of accepting awareness onto these old wounds. You begin to untie the energetic knots that have kept your life force blocked for decades. As these knots release, your natural energy, your vibration, begins to change. You will notice that the world outside begins to reflect this inner shift. You stop attracting situations that so perfectly press upon your unhealed wounds, because those wounds are no longer screaming for attention. The universe no longer needs to send you messengers in the form of difficult people, because you have finally started reading the messages yourself. This is an act of profound self-love, and it will transform your inner world from a battlefield into a sanctuary. You are not at war with your anxiety. You are sitting with the scared child. You are not trying to conquer your anger. You are honoring the fierce protector. You are not condemning your numbness. You are creating a safe space for the exhausted child to finally rest. The scars remain. They are part of your story, part of the beautiful, intricate tapestry of your being. But they cease to be sources of reflexive pain. They become sources of wisdom. Once you learn their language, you realize they are not signs of your damage. They are maps. And these maps, once you learn to read them, contain the precise coordinates to find your way back to the vast, undiscovered continents of your own magnificent, whole, and unbreakable self. Now that you have stood at the door and begun to decipher the painful language of your scars, a critical question arises. Why have you not listened sooner? Why has this vital communication from your own soul gone unanswered for so long? The reason is as simple as it is profound. You have been otherwise occupied. You have been busy performing. You have been wearing a mask, and the role you have been playing has consumed your entire life. This mask is a masterpiece of your own creation, a brilliant and necessary tool of survival. Let us not begin by shaming it. Let us begin by honoring its function. When you were a child, you learned very quickly what was acceptable and what was not. You learned that certain emotions, certain truths, were met with disapproval, punishment, or abandonment. And so, You crafted a persona. Perhaps it was the mask of the good child, always agreeable, never causing trouble. Perhaps it was the mask of the strong one, who never cried and could handle anything. Perhaps it was the funny one, who used humor to deflect from any real vulnerability, or the capable one, whose entire worth was built upon being competent and helpful. This mask was your shield. It protected the soft, tender, vulnerable child within from a world that felt unsafe. It allowed you to navigate the complex dynamics of your family, your school, your early life. It earned you what you desperately needed: a measure of safety, a degree of acceptance, a form of love. It worked. And because it worked, you never took it off. You have worn it for so long, polished it so diligently, and played the part so convincingly that you have forgotten it is a mask at all. You believe it is you. This is the central tragedy of the actor who has been in a role for a lifetime. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, you are already putting on the costume, applying the makeup. You go out into the world and deliver your lines with practiced perfection. You are strong, you are fine, you are capable, you have it all together. People applaud your performance. They rely on your strength. They admire your composure. This applause, this external validation, becomes a powerful, addictive drug. It reinforces the belief that the mask is who you are, that the mask is what makes you valuable. But what happens when the play is over for the day? What happens when you come home, close the door, and the audience is gone? The actor collapses in the dressing room, overcome with a bone-deep exhaustion they cannot explain. This is the immense energetic cost of the performance. It takes a tremendous amount of life force to maintain the gap between who you truly are on the inside, the child who might be sad, scared, or overwhelmed, and the character you are playing on the outside. This constant vigilance, this fear of being found out, this internal split, is the root of the burnout that so many of us experience. We are not tired of life. We are tired of the performance. We are exhausted from holding up the mask. And the child in the forgotten room, the mask is its cage. Every time you say, "I'm fine," when your heart is breaking, you are sliding the bolt on its door. Every time you take on one more responsibility when you are already at your breaking point, you are reinforcing the bars of its prison. Every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace, you are telling the child, your voice does not matter. The performance is more important than your soul. The mask is built from the materials of self-abandonment. Its creed is denial. It denies the child's tears, its anger, its messiness, its glorious and sacred imperfection. The child longs to run wild, to make mistakes, to be sad, to be held. But the mask demands perfection. It demands composure. It demands that you remain in character at all times. This creates a profound inner starvation. You feed the mask with applause from the outside world, but you are starving the true self of what it actually needs: authenticity. The child needs to be seen, heard, and loved for who it is, not for the role it can play. The deep, gnawing emptiness you may feel, that sense that something is missing, even when your life looks perfect on the surface, is the cry of this starving child. It is the soul's famine. The path to freedom is the process of unmasking. This is not a violent act of ripping the mask from your face in front of the world. That would be terrifying and counterproductive. The unmasking is a gentle, private, and sacred process. It begins by creating a sanctuary, an inner dressing room, where you can be alone with yourself, with no audience. This might be your meditation cushion, your journal, a quiet walk in nature. It is a space and time you dedicate to no one but yourself. In this sacred space, you begin with small, private acts of authenticity. You let go of the script. You admit, just to yourself, "I am not fine today. I am tired. I am sad." You give yourself permission to feel the feeling without any need to fix it or even understand it. You allow tears to fall if they come, not as a sign of weakness, but as a sacred release. You acknowledge a feeling of anger, simply letting it be a sensation in your body, without needing to aim it at anyone. You are, for the first time, allowing the child to express itself in the safety of the dressing room, with you as a compassionate, non-judgmental witness. As you practice this, you can begin a new exercise. Stand before a mirror when you are alone. Look into your own eyes, past the familiar facade. Ask yourself, gently, who is behind the mask today? Can I see you? What do you need? You might be shocked by what you see. You might see the exhaustion. You might see the fear. You might see a profound sadness. Your first instinct will be to turn away, to put the mask back on. Your work is to stay, to keep looking, to meet that real face with a wave of compassion, to whisper to the reflection, I see you, I am here, I am not leaving. The fear that arises during this process is immense. The ego, the sense of I, has become so fused with the mask that taking it off can feel like an annihilation. It can feel like you are erasing yourself. The fear will scream, if I am not the strong one, who am I? If I am not the capable one, I am worthless. If I stop playing my part, I will be abandoned. I will be unloved. You must honor this fear. It is the terror of the actor being told they will never work again. But you must also know the deeper truth. Beneath the mask is not nothingness. Beneath the mask is not a monster. Beneath the mask is everything. It is your true self, your essence, your connection to the divine intelligence of the universe. It is a wellspring of creativity, joy, wisdom, and peace that is infinitely more real and nourishing than the fleeting applause of the world. The mask, in its attempt to keep you safe, has actually been blocking you from the source of all safety, all love, and all power. The goal is not to shatter the mask into 1,000 pieces. It is a useful tool. The goal is to move from being a prisoner of the mask to being its master. To be able to put it on when a role is required, but to be able to take it off at will, especially with yourself and with those who have earned your trust. The ultimate freedom is integration. It is when the face in the mirror and the feeling in your heart are the same. It is when the child in the forgotten room is finally given the key and is free to walk through every room in the house, knowing it is loved and accepted, not for its performance, but simply for being. This takes courage, the quiet courage to be real in a world that so often rewards artifice. But the reward is the peace you have been seeking your entire life, the peace of finally, truly coming home. Having lifted the corner of the mask, you have glimpsed the vulnerable, authentic face beneath. Now we must look at the immense force that forged that mask and continues to hold it in place. We must speak of the crushing, invisible burden that you have carried for so long you have mistaken its weight for the feeling of being alive. This is the weight of being perfect. Let us be clear. This is not about the noble pursuit of excellence. It is not about the healthy desire to learn, to grow, and to offer your best to the world. That is the beautiful, natural impulse of the soul's expansion. Perfectionism is not the soul's impulse. It is the ego's terror. It is a haunted state of being, a compulsive, fear-based need to be flawless, driven by a deep-seated belief that anything less than perfect will result in catastrophe, judgment, or abandonment. It is the voice that whispers, "It's not ready yet." The paralysis that stops you from starting. The relentless inner critic that dissects every achievement, searching for the single fatal flaw, ensuring you can never feel true satisfaction. It is a cage lined with mirrors, where you are simultaneously the prisoner, the guard, and the ever-watchful judge. This drive to be perfect is not your nature. You were not born with it. It is a weight that was placed upon the small shoulders of your inner child, stone by painful stone. To understand this weight, we must use our imagination. Picture the child within you, that small, sensitive being. Now picture an enormous, rough-hewn boulder being placed upon its back. This is the boulder of expectation. It did not appear all at once. It was built over time. Each time love was given for an achievement, but withheld for a struggle, a small stone was added. Each time you were praised for being quiet and compliant, but chided for being loud and emotional, another stone was added. The A grade that earned a smile, the athletic trophy that earned applause, the clean room, the polite manners, the perfect performance, each one added to the weight. The child, in its innocent and brilliant logic, drew a simple conclusion. My value, my safety, my very right to be loved is directly proportional to my ability to carry this boulder without stumbling. The weight is the price of admission to the family, to society. To be loved, I must be perfect. To be safe, I must not fail. And so, the child began to strain. It focused all of its energy on balancing the impossible load. It learned to walk carefully, to never make a sudden move, to constantly monitor the stability of the weight on its back. This survival strategy, born of a child's desperate need for love, has become your adult operating system. Look at your life today. That obsessive need to reread an email 10 times before sending it? That is the child, terrified that a single typo will cause the entire boulder to come crashing down. That procrastination that keeps you from starting a new project? That is the child, paralyzed by the sheer weight of the expectation to do it perfectly, believing it is better not to try than to try and fail. The harsh, relentless voice in your head that criticizes your every move? That is the internalized voice of every person who ever added a stone to the pile, a voice the child adopted as its own to ensure it would never again be caught off guard by external judgment. You are an adult, straining under a weight placed upon you in childhood, still trying to earn the approval of ghosts. If we were to dissect this boulder, we would find it is composed of several toxic materials. The first is the fear of judgment. At its core, perfectionism is the belief that you are being perpetually watched by a critical tribunal. You perform for this invisible jury in your work, in your relationships, even in your moments of rest. You are trying to build an airtight case for your own worthiness, but the jury is rigged, because the judge is your own inner critic, and its verdict is always not good enough. The second material is the illusion of control. The world is a chaotic, unpredictable place, and for a child, that can be terrifying. Perfectionism offers a tantalizing false promise. If you can just control every variable, if you can anticipate every outcome, if you can make everything perfect, you can prevent pain, you can prevent loss, you can prevent abandonment. It is a desperate attempt by the ego to manage a universe that operates on principles far grander and more mysterious than control. It is a strategy doomed to fail, and that failure only reinforces the drive to try even harder next time. But the densest, heaviest material at the boulder's core is the sickness of not enough. Perfectionism is not the pursuit of being whole. It is the frantic attempt to conceal a perceived inner lack. Deep down, the child concluded that it was fundamentally flawed, that something was inherently wrong with it. Perfectionism then became the lifelong project of creating a flawless exterior to hide this supposed inner deficiency. If I can create a perfect report, a perfect meal, a perfect body, a perfect life, the logic goes, then maybe, just maybe, no one will ever see the broken, unworthy thing that I secretly believe I am. It is a futile effort, for no amount of external perfection can heal an internal wound. The spiritual cost of carrying this boulder is immeasurable. Perfectionism is the enemy of grace. It is a state of constant striving, of pushing, of controlling. It leaves no space for the universe to surprise you, to offer you a gift, to guide you down an unexpected path. Grace flows in moments of surrender, of allowing. Intuition speaks in whispers, but the perfectionist's mind is a shouting match of self-criticism. In your effort to get it right, you block your access to your own higher wisdom. Furthermore, this weight isolates you. True human connection is forged in the fires of shared vulnerability. We connect through our struggles, our mistakes, our humanity. But the perfectionist cannot show these things. They present a polished, invulnerable statue to the world and then wonder why they feel so profoundly alone, so deeply unseen. No one can love a statue. They can only admire it from a distance. The time has come to set the boulder down. This is not an act of aggression. It is an act of supreme compassion. The first step is awareness. In your daily life, begin to notice the weight. Feel the tension in your neck and shoulders as you strive for a perfect outcome. Hear the harsh, critical tone of your inner voice. Do not judge it, simply notice it and name it. Ah, this is the boulder. This is the weight of perfection. This is not my true nature. This is a burden I have been carrying. The next step is to gently question its purpose. Ask your deepest self, for whom am I still carrying this weight? Whose love am I still trying to earn with this exhausting performance? You may be shocked to find you are still trying to please a parent who is no longer here, or a teacher whose opinion ceased to matter decades ago. Seeing this clearly loosens the boulder's grip, but the most powerful act is to turn your awareness inward and speak directly to the child who is still carrying the weight. The adult you, the conscious, compassionate witness, must give the child a new command, a new permission. You can say to it, silently or out loud in the sanctuary of your own heart, "My dear one, I see you. I see how hard you have been working to carry this weight for us. I see how strong you have been. But I am here now. I am the adult, and I am telling you with all my love that you can set it down. You do not have to be perfect to be loved by me. Your worth is not in your performance. You are inherently worthy, simply because you exist. You have my permission to be messy, to make mistakes, to fail, to rest. I will not leave you. I will not abandon you. I love you more for your beautiful, messy humanity than I ever could for your strained, brittle perfection." Feel the meaning of these words. Let them wash over the child, and then, in your mind's eye, help the child to shrug the boulder from its back. Feel the impossible weight roll away. Feel the child stand up straight for the first time, its spine uncompressed, its shoulders relaxed. Feel the lightness, feel the freedom. This is not about becoming a slacker. It is about shifting your motivation from fear to love. It is about choosing to create from a place of joy and inspiration rather than from a desperate need to prove your worth. Your true perfection is not in a flawless outcome. It is in your authentic, courageous, and beautifully imperfect humanity. That is the masterpiece the universe has been waiting for. You have done courageous work. You have stood at the door of the forgotten room. You have begun to learn the language of your own scars. You have seen the mask of performance for what it is, and you have felt the immense relief of setting down the boulder of perfection. After these great labors, the child within you is no longer trapped, no longer completely unheard, but it is vulnerable. It is exhausted. Like a refugee stepping out of a long and harrowing winter, it is blinking in a new light, uncertain and tender. To be free is not enough. To heal, this child needs more than freedom. It needs a haven. It needs a sanctuary. We are now going to build this sanctuary together. This is not an exercise in escapism or spiritual bypassing. We are not creating a place to hide from the world forever. We are creating a sacred training ground for the soul. We are building a place where your inner child can finally learn, through direct experience, what unconditional safety feels like in its own body. It is a charging station, a temple, a home base from which you can engage with the world, not from a place of deficit and fear, but from a foundation of inner security and fullness. You have the divine and sovereign power to construct this space within the infinite landscape of your own consciousness. It requires no one's permission, no physical materials, only your intention and your imagination. If it is safe for you to do so, I invite you to close your eyes. If not, simply allow your focus to soften and turn inward. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, release the noise of the day. Take another breath, and as you exhale, Release the need to be anywhere but right here, right now. Now, I want you to ask your deepest self, your soul, to show you a place. A place that, for you, embodies perfect peace and safety. Do not force an image. Simply allow one to arise. For some, it may be a secluded cove by the ocean, where the waves whisper secrets to the sand. For others, it might be a sun-dappled clearing in an ancient forest, with moss-covered stones and towering trees that hum with life. It could be a cozy, book-lined library with a crackling fireplace and a deep, comfortable armchair. It could be a cabin high in the mountains, overlooking a still, clear lake. It could even be a fantastical placid garden that floats in the clouds, a crystal cave that glows with soft light. There is no right or wrong answer. Trust the first image that your soul offers you. This is your place. Once you have a sense of this location, let us begin to build it with our senses, to make it real and tangible to your nervous system. First, look around. What do you see? Notice the quality of the light. Is it the bright, clean light of morning, the golden, honeyed light of late afternoon, or the soft, silvery light of the moon? See the colors, the deep emerald of the leaves, the impossible blue of the water, the rich, warm tones of the wood. Notice the details, the delicate veins on a leaf, the intricate patterns in a seashell, the texture of the fabric on a chair. This place is yours. You can make it as simple or as elaborate as you wish. Now, engage your hearing. What are the sounds of your sanctuary? Is it the rhythmic pulse of the ocean, a sound that has calmed beings for millennia? Is it the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, accompanied by the distant song of a bird? Is it the comforting crackle and pop of a fire? Or is it a silence so deep, so profound, that you can finally hear the beating of your own heart? This is a space free from the harsh sounds of the world, free from jarring noises and critical voices. Next, bring your awareness to the sense of smell. What are the fragrances of this sacred place? Can you smell the rich, damp earth of the forest floor, the clean, salty tang of the sea air, the scent of old paper and leather from the books in your library, the fragrance of a particular flower that you love, blooming just for you? Scent is deeply tied to memory and emotion. Allow the aroma of your sanctuary to signal safety to the deepest parts of your brain. And what can you feel? Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Is it warm and gentle, or cool and refreshing? Feel the ground beneath your feet. Is it soft sand, cool stone, or a plush rug? Imagine reaching out and touching something. Feel the rough bark of a tree, the surprising smoothness of a river stone, the incredible softness of a velvet cushion. Imagine a warm, gentle breeze caressing your face. Now, we must establish the single, unbreakable law of this sanctuary. With the full force of your intention, declare that this space is sacred ground. Declare that only that which is of your highest good and comes in pure, unconditional love is permitted to enter. No one else's expectations can come in. No one else's drama is allowed. Your own inner critic is forbidden at the gate. All your fears, your worries, your to-do lists must remain outside. This is a sovereign space, protected by your own divine will. Feel the energetic boundary of this place, shimmering and strong, protecting you from all that is not love. Now you, the conscious, compassionate adult, are standing in the center of your sanctuary. Feel its peace permeate your entire being. Feel your shoulders drop, your breath deepen. Feel the safety in your own cells. This is your true nature. This peace is your birthright. From this grounded, centered place, I want you to turn and gently invite your inner child to join you. Do not command it. Do not drag it. Simply open the way and extend a loving invitation. You might see the child, hesitant, peeking from behind a tree or from the doorway of a cabin. It has known so few truly safe spaces. It may be skeptical. That is okay. Your only job is to wait, radiating patience and unconditional love. You can send a thought to the child. This place is for you. I made it for you. It is perfectly safe. I am here. and I will keep you safe. You can come when you are ready. Perhaps the child takes a tentative step forward. Perhaps it runs to you. Perhaps it just sits where it is and watches you for a while. Whatever it does is perfect. If it comes closer, you might simply sit with it in the peaceful silence. You don't need to do anything. Your calm, loving presence is the medicine. The shared experience of the sanctuary's safety is the healing. Here, in this space, the child can finally unclench its small fists. It can finally take a full, deep breath. It can finally rest. This sanctuary is now a part of you. It is a destination you can visit anytime. Make it a daily practice. Spend 5 minutes there when you wake up, setting a tone of inner peace for your day. Visit it before you sleep, washing away the stresses of the world, and use it in moments of acute need. When you are in a stressful meeting, when you are feeling overwhelmed by life, you can mentally excuse yourself for 30 seconds. In your mind, you can step into your sanctuary, take one deep breath of its clean air, feel its peace, and then return to the situation with a renewed sense of core stability. As you continue this practice, you are doing more than just imagining. You are building a real energetic structure, a vibrational reality of safety that begins to rewire your nervous system. You are attuning your entire being to the frequency of peace, and over time, something miraculous happens. The need to go to the sanctuary begins to fade. The qualities of the sanctuary, the peace, the safety, the unconditional love start to merge with your own being. The body itself becomes the sanctuary. You realize that you do not need to go to a safe place, because you are the safe place. You become a walking, breathing sanctuary for your own inner child, and in doing so, you become a beacon of peace for a world in desperate need of it. Inside the sanctuary you have built, a profound shift begins to occur. Protected by the walls of your own loving intention, the child within you starts to believe in the possibility of safety. And in this dawning safety, it will begin to do what it has never been allowed to do before. It will begin to feel the grief it swallowed, the rage it suppressed, the terror it hid. These long imprisoned energies will start to surface. A wave of sadness may arise, seemingly from nowhere. A sudden spike of anger may flash through your system. The child is finally trusting you enough to show you its wounds. Your first instinct, conditioned by a lifetime of social programming, will be to fix it. When the child begins to weep, the fixer in you will rush forward with a box of tissues and a string of platitudes. Don't cry. It's okay. Everything is all right. Let's think of something happy. When the child shows anger, the fixer will try to placate it or reason with it. There's no need to be so angry. Let's be rational about this. This impulse, though it may feel like kindness, is a subtle and devastating repetition of the original wound. It carries an unspoken message. Your feelings are a problem. Your pain is inconvenient. Your reality is not acceptable. Please change so that I can be comfortable. And in that moment, the sanctuary walls become thin, and the child learns once again that its authentic expression is not truly welcome. It learns that even here, it must perform. Your next great task on this journey is to fire the fixer. It is to let go of the roles of manager, therapist, and problem solver for your inner world. Your role is infinitely more simple and profoundly more powerful. It is to become the sacred witness. To witness is not a passive act. It is the most active and potent form of love you can offer. It is the practice of offering pure, undivided, non-judgmental presence to whatever arises. It is to sit beside the weeping child, not to stop the tears, but to let your quiet presence be a testament that it is finally safe to cry. It is to stand with the raging child, not to silence its fury, but to let your steadfastness communicate that you are not afraid of its power and that you will not abandon it. The sacred witness does not interfere. It does not advise. It does not analyze. It simply holds space. And in the crucible of that sacredly held space, alchemy happens. Pain, when witnessed with love, begins to transmute into wisdom. To truly understand this, we must expand our central metaphor. Imagine that you are not the feelings that pass through you. Imagine that your true nature, your eternal consciousness, is the vast, open sky. It is boundless, clear, and inherently peaceful. It is always there, unchanged and unchanging. The emotions of the inner child, and indeed all your thoughts and feelings, are the weather. They are the clouds that drift through the sky. Some days, the clouds are light and puffy, the white clouds of momentary joy or contentment. They drift by gracefully. On other days, dark, heavy thunderheads of rage gather on the horizon. They block out the sun, they flash with lightning, they rumble with thunder, they feel immense and all-consuming. There are also the persistent, low-hanging gray clouds of sorrow, which can settle in for days, bringing a gentle but steady rain of tears. And then there is the disorienting fog of confusion or the chaotic, whipping winds of anxiety. Our fundamental suffering arises from a single, tragic case of mistaken identity. We have forgotten that we are the sky, and we have come to believe that we are the cloud. When the thunderhead of anger appears, we say, "I am angry." We contract our entire sense of self into the shape, energy, and story of that cloud. We become the storm. We lose all perspective, all spaciousness. We are consumed by the weather. The practice of the sacred witness is the practice of remembering your sky-like nature. It is the conscious choice to disidentify from the cloud and re-identify with the vast, open space that holds the cloud. When a storm of anger gathers within you, the witness does not say, "I am angry." The witness says, "I am aware of a powerful energy of anger moving through me." Can you feel the difference? The first statement is a total identification. The second creates space. You are the sky, and you are noticing a thunderhead. You are not trying to push the thunderhead away. You are not judging it as a bad cloud. You are simply allowing it to be what it is, knowing that, like all clouds, it is temporary. It will pass. The sky does not fight the storm. It provides the space for the storm to happen. In its allowing, the storm expends its energy and eventually dissolves, revealing the ever-present, peaceful blue of the sky that was there all along. Your presence does not suppress the emotion. It allows the emotion to complete its natural life cycle. To cultivate this witness consciousness, you must practice its core qualities. The first is unconditional presence. This is the art of being here, now, with what is. When you sit with your inner child in the sanctuary, you are not mentally planning your grocery list or rehashing a conversation from yesterday. You offer it the rare and precious gift of your full, undivided attention. Your presence says, "For this moment, you are the most important thing in my universe." Your feeling matters completely. The second quality is limitless patience. The egoic mind is always in a hurry. It wants to get healing over with. The witness understands that the soul has its own timing, its own rhythm. It can sit with a particular sadness for days, for weeks, if that is what is needed. It does not tap its foot and ask, "Are you done feeling this yet?" It trusts the organic process of emotional digestion. This patience communicates a profound safety to the child. It says, "Take all the time you need. There is no rush. I am not going anywhere." The third quality, and perhaps the most surprising, is profound courage. It requires immense spiritual strength to sit with the raw, undiluted energy of terror or grief without flinching. The desire to run, to numb, to distract is overwhelming. To stay present, to breathe into the heart of the pain, is an act of the highest valor. Being a witness is not weak or passive. It is the stance of a spiritual warrior, whose strength is found not in aggression but in the capacity to remain open and steadfast in the face of suffering. The fourth quality is deep compassion. The witness does not see the child's pain as a flaw. It sees the pain as the logical and necessary result of what the child has endured. It looks upon the rage and understands the boundary that was violated. It looks upon the fear and understands the moment safety was lost. Compassion is the warmth of the witness's presence. It is an energy that says, Of course you feel this way. It makes perfect sense. Your pain is valid. This compassionate understanding is like the sun's warmth on a frozen landscape. It allows things to soften, to melt, to flow again. Finally, and most critically, the witness embodies radical neutrality, or non-judgment. It does not label feelings as good or bad. Sadness is not bad. Anger is not bad. They are simply energies, simply information. It is the secondary layer of judgment. I shouldn't be so angry. I'm weak for being so sad that creates so much of our suffering. The witness removes this layer. It sees the raw energy of the emotion without adding a story of shame or guilt to it. It allows anger to be just anger. It allows sadness to be just sadness. In this neutral, accepting space, the emotion is freed from the burden of being wrong and can therefore move much more freely. Let us walk through a practice. Find your way back to your inner sanctuary. Settle into its peace. Invite the child to be with you. Now, ask the child with gentleness if there is a feeling inside that wants to be seen today. Perhaps a feeling of grief arises. You see the child's shoulders begin to slump and its eyes well up with tears. Notice the fixer. Notice the immediate impulse to say, "Oh, don't cry." Acknowledge this impulse. Thank it for trying to help. And then, with conscious intention, ask it to step aside. Now, embody the witness. Embody the sky. You sit near the child, not crowding it. You say nothing. You simply watch, and you breathe. Your breath is your anchor to the present moment, your anchor to your sky-like nature. The child begins to sob. The waves of grief are palpable. You do not try to stop it. You do not try to understand it with your mind. Your job is simply to provide a safe container for this storm of sorrow. Your silent, loving presence is the container. Your presence communicates everything that needs to be said. I am here. I am not leaving. I am not afraid of your tears. Your sadness is welcome here. It is safe to let it out. As you sit there, turn your awareness to your own body. Where do you feel this grief? Is it a heaviness in your heart, a thickness in your throat, a hollowness in your belly? Witness these physical sensations as you would witness the clouds. They are the physical translation of the emotional energy. Breathe into these places in your body. Don't try to change them. Just breathe space around them. You are being the sky for the storm in your own body, even as you are being the witness for the child. As the child's sobs continue, held in your unwavering presence, you may notice a subtle shift. The storm does not end abruptly, but its intensity may lessen. The desperate, painful edge of the grief may soften. The sobs may turn into quieter tears. The child feels seen. It feels that its pain has finally been registered, validated, and honored without reservation. The energy of the grief, having been given full permission to exist, has moved through the system instead of remaining trapped within it. The cloud has released its rain. This practice, repeated over time, will fundamentally change your relationship with yourself, but its effects do not end there. As you master the art of being a sacred witness for your own inner world, you will find that you have become a healing presence in the outer world. When a friend or loved one is in pain, you will no longer feel the frantic need to offer advice or solutions. You will be able to offer them the rare and powerful gift of your quiet, non-judgmental presence. You will become the safe space where they can fall apart, knowing you will not try to fix them. You will become the sky for their storms. In a world that is addicted to distraction, noise, and the numbing of all discomfort, the one who can hold space for pain is a beacon. To be a sacred witness is not something you must achieve. It is a return to who you have always been. You are not the fleeting cloud. You have never been the cloud. You are, and have always been, the vast, silent, peaceful sky. The work is simply to remember. The practice is the act of remembering. And in that remembering, you find your own liberation. And you become a source of liberation for all. As you stand in the hallowed ground of the sanctuary, holding space as the sacred witness, You create the conditions for a miracle. The child, feeling the warmth of your unconditional presence, will begin to trust you with its most protected treasure, its sorrow. One of the first and most powerful energies that will ask for release is the great, frozen ocean of uncried tears. And your task now is to grant the most sacred permission of all, the permission to weep. Our world is deeply afraid of tears. From our earliest days, we are taught that crying is a sign of failure. We are handed a litany of injunctions, a legacy of emotional drought passed down from one generation to the next. Stop your crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Big boys don't cry. You're being too sensitive. Tears won't solve anything. These messages, spoken by adults who were themselves terrified of their own vulnerability, taught us a dangerous lesson, that our sorrow was a shameful, inconvenient weakness. And so we learned to stop the flow. We learned to build a dam. Imagine that your emotional body, your very life force, is a powerful, flowing river. It is meant to be in constant motion, responding to the landscape of your life, sometimes rushing, sometimes meandering, but always moving. When a painful event occurred in your childhood, a loss, a rejection, a moment of profound loneliness, and you were not allowed to express the natural sorrow that arose, you took a stone and placed it in the river. Each swallowed sob was another stone. Each time you bit your lip to stop the tears, you added mortar and concrete. You did this to survive, to be acceptable, to be loved. Over years, stone by stone, you built a massive, formidable dam inside your own being. And you told yourself this dam was your strength. Look now at the consequences of this great construction. Behind the dam, a vast, stagnant reservoir has formed. This is the accumulated weight of every tear you never shed. It is a dark, murky, silent body of water, and its immense pressure is constant. This pressure manifests in your adult life in 1,000 ways. It is the unexplained chronic fatigue that plagues you, the physical weight of holding back a lifetime of emotion. It is the persistent, low-grade anxiety humming beneath the surface, the nervous system perpetually braced against a flood. It is the sense of pressure in your chest, the lump in your throat that never quite goes away. It is a profound lack of vitality, a feeling that your life force is trapped, unable to flow. And what of the land downstream from the dam? It is a dry and barren riverbed. This is the part of your life that feels devoid of color, of passion, of joy. Your creativity has dried up because the water that feeds it is blocked. Your relationships may feel superficial because the emotional depth required for true intimacy cannot flow through you. You feel disconnected from your own heart, from others, from life itself, because you have dammed the very river that connects you to everything. We have been told that tears are a sign of weakness, but the truth is that the dam is the source of our brittleness, and the uncried tears are the source of our exhaustion. We must reclaim the sacred alchemy of weeping. Your tears are not salt water, they are medicine. Modern science has shown that emotional tears, unlike tears of irritation, contain stress hormones like cortisol. When you cry, you are literally flushing the chemistry of stress and pain out of your physical body. It is your body's own built-in, perfect purification system. But the process is so much deeper than biochemistry. Your tears are liquid energy. They are the physical release of old, stagnant emotional information stored in your energy field. Each tear that falls is a drop of frozen history, a fragment of old pain, finally being allowed to melt and leave your system. To weep is to engage in a form of prayer more ancient and honest than any word. It is the soul speaking directly to the universe in the language of pure surrender. A true cleansing cry is a prayer that says, I cannot hold this anymore. I cannot carry this weight by myself. I surrender this pain to a power greater than my own. And the universe, which operates on the principles of flow and release, always responds to a prayer of surrender with an influx of grace. Your tears are holy water. The act of weeping is a baptism. It is a cleansing ritual that washes away the accumulated dust of the past, anointing you with the grace of the present moment and preparing you for a new beginning. Knowing this, your task is not to wait for a moment of overwhelming crisis to cry. That is like waiting for the dam to burst, a chaotic and often destructive event. Your task is to become the wise and gentle keeper of the dam, and to begin the process of a controlled, intentional release. You can create a ritual for this. Set aside a time and a space where you will not be disturbed. This is an appointment with your soul. Light a candle to signify the sacredness of the work. Play a piece of music that touches your heart. Wrap yourself in a soft blanket, an act of physical self-comfort. Then, in this safe container, you turn to your inner child. You might see it standing by the immense wall of the dam, small and uncertain. You, the compassionate witness, the adult self, will now speak the words of permission it has waited a lifetime to hear. You can say them out loud, for the vibration of the spoken word is powerful. My beloved one, I see this great wall we have built. I see how much pain is held behind it. I want you to know that it is finally safe. I am here with you, and I will not leave you. You have my full and unconditional permission to feel your sadness now. Your tears are welcome here. They are not a weakness, they are a cleansing rain. Let the river flow. I will keep you safe. Then you simply wait, and you hold space, and you must be prepared for what may happen. Sometimes, the tears come in a great, heaving flood, a torrent of release that can be frightening in its intensity. If this happens, your only job is to breathe and to stay present, to be the unshakable mountain on the riverbank as the water rushes past. Remind yourself, this is just energy leaving. This is healing. But sometimes, and this is just as common, nothing happens. You give permission, and no tears come. You feel only numbness, or a dry, aching sadness. Do not judge this. The dam is old, and its mechanisms are rusted shut. The child is still afraid to trust the permission. In this case, your practice is not to force the tears, but to simply sit with the willingness to feel. You sit with the numbness, you sit with the ache, you place your hand on your heart, and you continue to whisper, "It's okay, I'm still here," whenever you are ready. Your patient, loving willingness is the key that will slowly, gently, begin to dissolve the mortar and loosen the stones of the dam. After a true release of tears, the feeling is not one of continued sadness. It is a feeling of being rinsed clean. It is lightness. It is clarity. It is a profound, quiet peace. You have released some of the pressure from the reservoir. You have allowed some of your life force to begin nourishing the dry riverbed downstream. With each intentional act of weeping, you dismantle the dam, stone by stone. The goal is not to live in a perpetual state of sorrow, but to restore your natural emotional flow so that feelings can move through you as they arise, like a healthy and vibrant river. Let go of the ancestral lie that told you your tears were your shame. They are your power. They are the evidence of a heart brave enough to feel. They are the solvent that can dissolve the hardest pains. They are the river that will carry you back to the great wide ocean of your own peaceful soul. Give yourself permission to weep, and in doing so, you give yourself permission to live again. After the cleansing rain of tears, a new quiet descends. The air in your inner sanctuary is clear, charged with the energy of release. The child, having been held safely in the storm of its own sorrow, now looks at you with new eyes. It has been seen, it has been allowed to grieve. A fragile trust has been born. Now, a space has opened for a new kind of connection, one that goes beyond the silent witnessing and the nonverbal release. The time has come to replace a lifetime of criticism with a new language. The time has come to begin the dialogue of the heart. For years, perhaps for your entire life, there has been a voice speaking inside your mind. It is a relentless narrator, a harsh and unforgiving critic. This is the voice that has defined your inner world. Its soundtrack is painfully familiar. That was stupid. Why did you do that? You always mess up. Everyone else is so much more successful, more confident, more lovable. Don't even try, you'll just fail. This voice is a composite of every critical parent, every disapproving teacher, every societal judgment you have ever absorbed. And your inner child, having no other point of reference, has been its captive audience for decades. It believes this cruel narrator is you. It believes this voice speaks the truth about its worth. The dialogue of the heart is a conscious, revolutionary act of introducing a new voice. It is not about fighting the inner critic. To argue with the critic is to give it energy, to engage with it on its own low vibrational battlefield. Instead, you will render the critic irrelevant by cultivating a voice so rooted in love, compassion, and truth that its frequency simply drowns out the static of fear. You are going to learn to speak to your own inner being as a perfect, loving parent would speak to their most cherished child. This new language is built on principles that are the direct opposite of the critic's toxic creed. Where the critic practices invalidation, the heart offers validation. When a feeling of fear arises, the critic scoffs, "You're being ridiculous." The heart whispers, "It makes perfect sense that you feel scared. I understand. Let's breathe through this together." Where the critic offers condemnation, the heart offers compassion. When you make a mistake, the critic screams, "You are a failure." The heart says, "You were doing the best you could with the awareness you had at the time." This is a lesson, not a judgment. We will learn from this. Where the critic specializes in comparison, the heart celebrates uniqueness. The critic points to others and says, "Why can't you be like them?" The heart looks at you and says, "Your path is your own. Your timing is sacred. I honor the unique way your soul is choosing to unfold." And most importantly, where the critic assigns blame, the heart offers a profound and healing apology. The adult self, the conscious you, must turn to the child and take responsibility for the years of neglect. This is perhaps the most powerful step in rebuilding trust. To begin this dialogue, we will engage in a sacred practice. We will write a letter. This is not a casual email. This is a formal, deeply intentional act of communication. I invite you to find a time and space where you will not be disturbed. Perhaps you choose a beautiful piece of paper and a special pen, or you open a new blank document on your screen. Light a candle. Take a few deep breaths. Settle into the quiet of your sanctuary and feel the presence of the child within you. This letter is the first love song you will sing to the part of you that has only ever heard criticism. Begin with a salutation that opens the heart. Address it with a tenderness it has never known. To my dearest little one, or my beloved child, or to the brave, beautiful me I left behind. Feel the love in these words as you write them. The body of the letter can have 5 parts. First, I see you. Begin by telling the child that you see it. Describe it with the eyes of love. I see you, sitting alone in that quiet room. I see the incredible resilience in your eyes. I see how you learn to be quiet to keep the peace. I see your sensitive heart and your wild imagination. I see your fear, and I am not afraid of it. This act of seeing is a profound gift, telling the child that it is no longer invisible. Second, the apology. I am sorry. This requires great humility, but it is the key that unlocks the door. Be specific. I am so sorry that I left you alone for so long. I am sorry that I listened to the voices of criticism and fear instead of listening to your heart. I am sorry for pushing you to be perfect, for not letting you rest, for telling you your feelings were wrong. I was unconscious. I was lost in the world's noise, but I am waking up now, and I am here to make it right. Third, you must release its longest-held burden. It wasn't your fault. This is a vital absolution. The child has carried a deep, secret shame, believing that the pain it experienced was somehow its fault. You must correct this misconception with the full authority of your adult wisdom. I want you to hear this, and to know that it is the deepest truth. The difficult things that happened were not your fault. You were just a child. It was not your job to make the adults happy or to manage their emotions. You did nothing wrong by being sensitive, by having needs, by being exactly who you were. You were perfect. Fourth, the declaration of unconditional love. I love you. Tell the child that your love is not dependent on its performance. I love you right now, in this moment, exactly as you are. I love your shyness. I love your anger. I love your messiness. I love your dreams. You do not have to do anything, achieve anything, or become anything to earn my love. My love is your birthright. It is constant and it is yours always. And fifth, the new vow, the promise. This is your sacred commitment for the future. From this day forward, I promise to listen for your voice every day. I promise to protect you and to honor your feelings. I promise to make time for you to play and to rest. We are a team now, you and I together. I will never knowingly abandon you again. End the letter with a closing that seals your vow. With all my heart, forever, or your loving and devoted self. Sign it with your name, read it over, read it out loud. Let the energy of the words saturate your being. You have now opened a channel of communication that has been dormant for a lifetime. This letter is the grand opening, but the dialogue is a living, daily practice. Each morning, before you engage with the world, take 30 seconds to check in. Good morning, little one. How are you feeling today? Is there anything you need from me? In moments of stress or decision, pause. Instead of letting the critic's fear dictate your actions, turn inward. What part of this is scaring you? What do you need to feel safe? The child's answer may not come in clear words. It may be a feeling in your gut, a sudden intuitive flash, a sense of yes or no in your body. Learning to receive these subtle communications is the art of listening in the dialogue of the heart. As you continue this practice, your inner world will begin to transform. The harsh monologue of the critic will not vanish in a day, but its volume will decrease. Its voice will become thin and distant, like a radio playing in another room, while the warm, compassionate voice of your own loving heart becomes the dominant sound. The child, finally feeling heard, safe, and deeply loved, will begin to relax. The energy it once used for self-protection and bracing against criticism is now liberated. This liberated energy is the source of your adult joy, your creativity, your spontaneity, and your intuition. To engage in the dialogue of the heart is the ultimate act of becoming your own parent, your own champion, your own most intimate friend. It is the end of inner exile. It is the internal alignment that creates a profound and unshakable peace, a peace that cannot be given or taken away by the outside world, because it is generated from the eternal spring of love that flows between you and the divine child you have finally come home to. As the dialogue of the heart deepens, and the child within begins to trust the warmth of your presence, it will start to reveal its most secret and powerful defense mechanisms. These are not mere thoughts or fleeting beliefs. These are the foundational contracts it made with itself in moments of unbearable pain. They are the sacred, life-saving promises a child made to its own soul in order to survive. We call them the silent vows. A vow is forged in the fire of trauma. When a child experiences a pain too great to process a shattering betrayal, a profound abandonment, a shaming so deep it threatens their sense of self, their psyche, in its infinite wisdom, must find a way to make sense of the chaos and prevent it from ever happening again. In that moment of crisis, the child makes a decision. It whispers a promise to itself, a new rule for survival. This decision, this vow, becomes an energetic law that is imprinted upon their soul. It was, at the time, a brilliant strategy. It was the child taking back a sliver of control in a world that felt terrifyingly out of control. It was a masterpiece of psychic self-preservation. But the vow that saves the child will inevitably imprison the adult. These contracts, born of a limited, terrified perspective, do not expire. They operate in the background of your consciousness, silently dictating your choices, limiting your possibilities, and creating the very painful patterns you long to escape. They are invisible chains, forged in the past, that you are still dragging through your present life, and you cannot break a chain you do not know you are wearing. Your next task is to bring these vows out of the shadows and into the light of your loving awareness, to honor their service, and then to consciously, lovingly break them. Let us illuminate some of the most common of these silent vows. See if you recognize the echo of their chains in your own life. Perhaps the most common is the vow of self-reliance. It is forged in the fire of disappointment when a child learns that caregivers are unreliable or unavailable. The child makes a solemn promise, "I will never need anyone again. I will do everything myself." Depending on others is dangerous. This vow creates a hyper-competent, hyper-independent adult. You are the one everyone else relies on, but you are incapable of asking for help. You push away intimacy because true partnership feels threatening to your vow of self-sufficiency. You carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, heading relentlessly towards burnout, all because a small child within you is still fiercely honoring its promise to never, ever be let down again. The chain is heavy, and it is terribly lonely. Then there is the vow of invisibility. This vow is born when a child is shamed for being too much, too loud, too emotional, too needy, too joyful. They learn that their authentic expression leads to punishment or rejection. So, they make a vow, "I will be quiet, I will be small, I will not cause trouble. If they cannot see me, they cannot hurt me." This creates an adult who lives with a constant, low-grade social anxiety. You may have a deep fear of public speaking or of sharing your creative work. You downplay your own achievements, feeling like an imposter who is about to be found out. You make yourself agreeable, swallowing your own needs and opinions to avoid conflict. You are shackled by the vow to remain unseen, and your soul, which longs to shine, slowly suffocates in the shadows. A close cousin is the vow of mistrust. This chain is forged in a single searing moment of betrayal, a secret shared and then exposed, a promise broken. The child's innocent, open heart is shattered, and in its place, it vows, "I will never trust anyone that completely again. I will always hold a part of myself back." As an adult, this vow sabotages your deepest desire for connection. You may enter relationships, but you keep an escape hatch open. You remain emotionally unavailable, constantly scanning for evidence that you are about to be betrayed again. You are drawn to partners who are themselves untrustworthy, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that proves the child's vow was correct. You long for love, but the vow forbids the very surrender that love requires. Perhaps the most insidious is the vow of unworthiness. It is not forged in a dramatic moment, but in the slow, corrosive atmosphere of neglect, or of feeling like a burden. The child concludes, "There must be something fundamentally wrong with me. I am not worthy of love, success, or happiness. I should not ask for too much." This vow becomes a blueprint for a life of settling for less. You accept jobs that underpay you because deep down, you don't feel worthy of abundance. You stay in toxic relationships because you believe it is all you deserve. When something wonderful does happen, you feel immense anxiety and find a way to sabotage it because genuine joy feels unfamiliar and undeserved. The vow of unworthiness is a chain that anchors you to the bottom of the ocean, convincing you that you do not deserve to swim in the sunlit surface. The time has come to become a sacred liberator, a breaker of your own chains. This requires a ritual of conscious renunciation. It is an act of spiritual authority, where your adult self steps forward to update the terrified laws of the child. First, you must identify the vow. In the quiet of your sanctuary, through journaling or meditation, ask your inner child, what promises did we make to ourselves to survive? What are the old rules we are still living by? Be patient. The answers may come as words, as feelings, or as memories. When you identify one, name it clearly. I see that I have been living under the vow of invisibility. Naming it brings it out of the unconscious and into the light. The second step is crucial. You must honor the vow. Do not treat it as an enemy. It was your protector. Speak to it with respect. Thank you, vow of invisibility, for your service. I recognize that you kept me safe when I was small and vulnerable. Your strategy of hiding protected me from harm, and I am grateful for the role you played. This act of honoring prevents a violent inner conflict. You are not ripping a defense mechanism away. You are lovingly retiring a loyal but outdated soldier. The third step is the declaration of release. This is where you claim your power. Standing in your adult sovereignty, you speak the words of freedom. Your service, however, is now complete. I am an adult now. I have the resources, the wisdom, and the strength to keep myself safe. I no longer need to hide. And so, with love and gratitude for your protection, I now formally release you from your duty. I break the vow of invisibility. I dissolve this contract across all time, space, and dimensions. It no longer has power over me. Feel the authority in these words. You are rewriting the laws of your inner kingdom. The final step is to create a new vow. Nature abhors a vacuum. You must replace the old constricting law with a new, expansive one. In place of the old vow, I now make a new vow to myself and to the universe. I vow to allow my true self to be seen. I vow to honor my voice and to speak my truth with compassion. I vow to joyfully take up my sacred space in the world. Frame this new vow in the positive. State what you will do, not what you won't. When you break a silent vow, the energetic shift is real and palpable. It can feel like a physical weight lifting from your shoulders. A space opens up in your life where the chain used to be. New possibilities, new people, new opportunities that were incompatible with the old vow can now enter your reality. The person who breaks the vow of unworthiness can suddenly begin to receive abundance. The one who dissolves the vow of mistrust can finally experience the profound peace of a secure, loving partnership. This is the sacred work of reclaiming your sovereignty. You are stepping out of the prison of your past, not by forgetting it, but by lovingly dismantling its structures. You are telling the child within that it no longer has to be in charge of survival. You, the loving, conscious adult, are at the helm now, navigating not by the old, faded maps of fear, but by the brilliant, shining stars of your own expansive heart. You have walked through the shadowed valleys of your inner world. You have sat patiently by the door of the forgotten room. You have learned the painful language of your own scars. You have unmasked the performer. You have set down the boulder of perfection. You have built a sanctuary. You have witnessed the storm of grief, and you have broken the chains of ancient, silent vows. This is courageous, sacred, and demanding work. After this profound excavation, your soul is tender, open, and ready for a new kind of nourishment. Having cleared the land of thorns and stones, the time has come to plant flowers. The time has come to rediscover the lost playground. In the world of the adult, life is defined by purpose. Everything must have a reason, a goal, a return on investment. We work to earn money. We exercise to stay healthy. We socialize to build networks. We even read to acquire knowledge. We have become masters of productivity, efficiency, and responsibility. In this world, the concept of play, an activity done for no reason other than pure, unadulterated delight, is seen as a luxury at best and a frivolous waste of time at worst. It is something to be earned, a small reward after all the important work is done. But the work is never done, and so we forget how to play. This great forgetting is one of the most tragic ways we abandon our inner child. For play is its native tongue, its essential food, its very reason for being. Imagine your soul is a vast and fertile garden. Your responsibilities, your career, your duties to your family and community, these are the essential vegetables. They are the potatoes, the carrots, the kale. They provide sustenance, they ground you, they are necessary for survival. Our culture has taught us to be excellent vegetable farmers. We tend our rows with diligence. We weed them, we water them, we pride ourselves on a productive harvest. But a garden that is only vegetables, no matter how healthy, is a garden that lacks a certain magic. It is a garden without color, without fragrance, without life force. Play, creativity, and joy are the flowers in the garden of your soul. They are the wild poppies, the serene lilies, the joyful sunflowers. They have no purpose other than to be beautiful, to express their unique nature, to fill the air with delight. They do not feed the body, but they feed the soul in a way no vegetable ever could. When you look at your inner garden, what do you see? For many of us, the flower beds are barren. They have been paved over with responsibility, or they are choked with the weeds of guilt, the voice that says, "You shouldn't be wasting time on this. You should be doing something productive." To heal your inner child is to become a gardener who remembers the profound importance of flowers. It is to lovingly pull the weeds of guilt and to begin planting the seeds of purposeless joy. But what does it even mean for an adult to play? We have been away from the playground for so long that we have forgotten the rules of the game. The first rule of play is that it must be purposeless. It is an activity engaged in for its own sake. You are not trying to become a professional artist. You are simply delighting in the feeling of a paintbrush moving across paper. You are not trying to become a famous singer. You are simply experiencing the joy of singing in your car at the top of your lungs. This notion is radical in a world that demands every action be a step on the ladder of self-improvement. Play is not a step on any ladder. It is a joyful dance on the ground of being. The second quality of play is immersion. It is the gateway to the state of flow, that magical space where time dissolves. You become so absorbed in the activity building a model airplane, working with clay, getting lost in a piece of music that the chattering mind goes quiet. Your sense of a separate, anxious self melts away. This flow state is not only deeply pleasurable, it is profoundly meditative. It is a form of active, joyful mindfulness that rests and restores the nervous system. The third quality is curiosity. Play is driven by the question, what if? It is about exploration, not expertise. A child is not afraid to mix all the paint colors together to see what muddy brown they can create. They are on a journey of discovery. As adults, we become afraid to try things we are not already good at. We fear looking foolish or incompetent. To rediscover play is to give yourself permission to be a beginner, to be clumsy, to be delightfully unskilled. It is to trade the pressure of performance for the joy of exploration. So how do you find your way back to this lost playground? You must become an archaeologist of your own joy. Take out a journal and start a dig into your past. Ask your inner child this question. Before anyone told you what was valuable or what you were good at, what did you simply love to do? Make a list. Did you love to climb trees? To make forts out of blankets? To draw imaginary worlds? To sing nonsense songs? To spend hours watching ants march across the pavement? To dance wildly in the living room? Do not judge the list. Just write it all down. This list is a treasure map, pointing the way back to your authentic, joyful nature. Now read over the list, and as you read each item, consult the wisdom of your body. Your body is a flawless compass for joy. As you think about singing, what happens in your body? Is there a subtle feeling of lightness, of expansion, of excitement? That is a yes from your inner child. As you think about an activity that feels like a should, I really should learn to play the piano. What happens? Is there a feeling of heaviness, of contraction, of dread? That is a no. Learn to trust the felt sense of your body's response. It knows the way. Once you have a few clues, you must do what your adult self does best. Schedule it. In our overcommitted lives, that which is not scheduled is often forgotten. Put it in your calendar as a non-negotiable appointment. Tuesday, 7 p.m., finger painting. Saturday, 10 a.m. Purposeless walk in the park, no destination. Treating play with this level of importance gives it the legitimacy it deserves and protects it from the encroachment of other duties. Start with small, manageable doses. The pressure to have fun can be immense. So, begin with 5-minute microplays. Doodle on a notepad during a boring meeting. Put on your favorite high school anthem and have a one-song dance party in your kitchen. Hum loudly while you do the dishes. These small acts begin to reawaken the dormant muscle of play. The rediscovery of play is not a frivolous indulgence. It is an act of profound spiritual significance. Joy is a high vibrational state. When you are engaged in true play, you are aligning your energetic frequency with the frequency of Source, of creation itself. The universe is inherently playful and creative. By engaging in play, you are speaking the universe's language. You are moving from a state of striving to a state of joyful allowing, and you will be amazed at how the universe responds, bringing more and more opportunities for joy and creative expression into your life. Furthermore, to choose play is a radical act of trust. It is a declaration to the universe that you believe you are supported. It is a statement that you do not have to be in a state of constant, vigilant effort in order to be safe and provided for. You are affirming that you can afford, in all senses of the word, to rest, to delight, to be unproductive. It is an act of faith, and this faith is always rewarded. When you invite the playful child back into your life, your entire perception of the world begins to change. Life ceases to be a series of problems to be managed and becomes an adventure to be explored. Colors seem brighter. The world becomes re-enchanted with a sense of wonder. The wise, capable adult self and the joyful, creative inner child become the perfect team. The adult creates the safe container of a well-managed life, and the child fills that container with laughter, imagination, and spontaneity. This is not a regression to childhood. It is an integration into a new, more whole, more vibrant, and more spiritually awakened adulthood. You have done the hard work of visiting the child in its lonely room. Now, the final act of healing is to take its hand, lead it out into the garden of your soul, and invite it, at long last, to come out and play. You have walked the path of the archaeologist, excavating the ruins of your past. You have been the diplomat, learning the foreign language of your scars. You have become the liberator, breaking the silent, heavy chains of old vows. You have rediscovered the vibrant, sunlit playground of your own joy. Through this sacred and courageous work, you have gathered all the lost and fragmented pieces of yourself. Now, you are ready to step into the ultimate role of this healing journey. It is time to graduate from being a seeker, a witness, or even a friend to your inner child. It is time for you to consciously and lovingly become the parent it has always been searching for. But this is not about simply mimicking the parenting you received or saw in the world. The world is full of well-intentioned but wounded parents, operating from their own unresolved pain and conditioning. You are being called to embody something far grander, far more powerful. You are being called to become the cosmic parent. For most of our lives, we wander the earth as spiritual orphans. We carry a deep, primal ache for a perfect parenta figure who will finally see us, understand us completely, protect us fiercely, and love us without condition. We project this desperate longing onto others. We look for it in our romantic partners, hoping they will heal our childhood wounds. We search for it in our bosses and mentors, craving their unconditional approval. We seek it from gurus and spiritual teachers, wishing for them to provide us with all the answers and a permanent sense of safety. This search is always destined for heartbreak. No single, fallible human being can ever bear the weight of this cosmic expectation. They will inevitably fail us, not because they are malicious, but because they are human, wrestling with their own inner orphans. The great turning point in the spiritual journey is the moment we stop looking outside. It is the profound realization that the entire journey, every triumph, every failure, every joy, every wound has been a training program. It has been preparing you, shaping you, and infusing you with the precise wisdom and compassion needed for the most important job in the universe, parenting your own soul. The years of feeling misunderstood have taught you the exact frequency of true understanding. The moments of feeling unsafe have taught you precisely what is needed to create unshakable safety. The pain of being judged has taught you the sacred, healing power of non-judgment. You, in your present, adult consciousness, are the one you have been waiting for. You are the parent who has finally come home. To be a cosmic parent is to source your parenting not from human conditioning, but from universal, spiritual principles. It is to model your love on the love of the cosmos itself. The first quality of the cosmic parent is the unconditional love of the sun. The sun does not decide who is worthy of its warmth. It shines on the saint and the sinner, the flower and the weed, with equal, unwavering generosity. The cosmic parent's love is like this. It is not a reward for good behavior. It does not withdraw when the child is angry, sad, or makes a mistake. Its love is a constant, a foundational reality that says, "My love for you is not based on what you do. It is based on who you are. And who you are is inherently lovable." The second quality is the infinite patience of the mountain. A mountain is not disturbed by the changing seasons. It endures the harshness of winter, the heat of summer, the storms and the winds, knowing that they are all temporary. The cosmic parent embodies this patience. It is not in a hurry for the child to get over its feelings or to heal faster. It can sit with the child's resistance, its fears, and its slow pace of unfolding, knowing that everything is happening in its perfect, divine time. This profound patience creates a field of deep relaxation around the child, allowing it to heal without the pressure of a deadline. The third quality is the vast perspective of the night sky. When you look at the stars, you are seeing the light from distant galaxies, and your own earthly problems shrink in comparison. The cosmic parent holds this cosmic perspective. When the child is distraught over a perceived failure, social rejection, a failed project, the cosmic parent does not get lost in the drama. It holds the child's pain with compassion, while also gently remembering the bigger picture. It is the voice that says, "I know this hurts deeply right now, but I also know that this is one chapter in a vast and beautiful story. This experience is a lesson, a teacher that is shaping you in ways we cannot yet see. Your worth is not defined by this single moment." To embody these qualities, the cosmic parent performs 4 essential functions. Your sacred work now is to consciously practice these functions every single day until they become your new nature. The first function is that of the unshakable protector. The child within you cannot relax, play, or heal if it does not feel fundamentally safe. The cosmic parent takes on the role of the fierce and loving guardian. This means setting powerful boundaries in your life. It means learning to say no to requests, commitments, and people that drain your energy and violate your peace. It means having the courage to walk away from environments, be they jobs or relationships that are toxic to your soul. The protector is the gatekeeper of your energy field. In your meditations, you can visualize yourself as a powerful, loving figure of light, standing at the edge of your aura. You discern what is allowed to enter. You say to the world, "Only that which is loving and respectful may enter this sacred space." And you say to the child within, "You can rest now. You can play. You can feel. I am on watch. I will handle the world. I will never let anyone harm you again." The second function is that of the compassionate nurturer. This is the soft, gentle, and receptive aspect of parenting. It is the one who provides comfort when there is pain. When you feel tired, the nurturer doesn't call you lazy. It whispers, "My love, you need to rest. Let's cancel that plan and go lie down." When you are feeling sad, the nurturer doesn't tell you to get over it. It says, "Let me hold you. Let the tears come. I am right here with you." This is a practice of active self-mothering. It can be as simple as placing your own hand over your heart and breathing deeply, sending warmth and love to yourself. It can mean making yourself a warm cup of tea, wrapping yourself in a soft blanket, or listening to gentle music. It is the conscious act of providing yourself with the soothing and tenderness you once longed for from others. The third function is that of the wise teacher and gentle guide. Life will always present challenges, and mistakes will always be made. The inner critic uses these moments to condemn and shame. The cosmic parent uses them to teach. When you stumble, the wise teacher does not say, "You are so clumsy." It says, "That step was tricky. Let's see what we can learn about our balance. How can we approach it differently next time?" It reframes failure as feedback. It separates your actions from your identity. An action can be unsuccessful, but your core self is always whole, worthy, and in a state of learning. This transforms your life from a series of pass, fail tests into a grand and fascinating classroom, where you are the most beloved and patiently taught student. The fourth function is that of the zealous champion. This is the parent who sees the unique, divine spark in the child and celebrates it relentlessly, regardless of external validation. The world may not recognize your gifts. You may not be famous or conventionally successful, but the champion sees your sensitive heart not as a weakness, but as a superpower of empathy. It sees your quiet nature, not as a social failing, but as a wellspring of deep wisdom. The champion is your own personal cheerleader. At the end of each day, it is the voice that helps you find one thing to praise yourself for. Not, "I closed the big deal," but, "I was brave enough to speak my truth in that conversation," or, "I noticed the beauty of the sunset on my way home." The champion celebrates your being, not just your doing, reminding the child every day that it is seen, it is valued, and it is magnificent, just as it is. By consciously performing these four functions, protecting, nurturing, guiding, and championing, you are achieving something miraculous. You are becoming a self-contained, self-sustaining, energetic system. You are becoming a mini-universe for your own soul. You sought safety from the world, and now you are the unshakable protector. You sought love from the world, and now you are the compassionate nurturer. You sought wisdom from the world, and now you are the wise guide. You sought validation from the world, and now you are the zealous champion. The desperate, needy search outside of yourself begins to fall away. You can now engage with the world not as a hungry orphan, but as a benevolent sovereign. You can give love freely because your own inner well is full. You can listen to others compassionately because you are no longer desperate to be heard. You can celebrate others' successes because you are no longer dependent on external validation. This is the great, sacred marriage within. The wise, capable, cosmic parent self joins in union with the vibrant, vulnerable, creative child self. They are no longer at war. They are no longer separated. They are one integrated, whole being, moving through the world with both the wisdom of age and the wonder of childhood. This is the end of your inner exile. This is the deep, abiding peace you have been searching for. You have become the parent, and in doing so, you have finally come home. As you stand tall in your emerging role as the cosmic parent, holding the inner child in a field of unwavering protection, compassion, and guidance, there is a core, foundational wound that you must now address. It is one of the most painful and pervasive illusions a human soul can endure. It is the silent, deeply held belief that your existence is an inconvenience. It is the feeling that you are a burden. This feeling is not a loud, declarative thought. It is a subtle, corrosive energy that underlies so many of your actions. It is the reason you apologize when you have done nothing wrong. It is the hesitation in your voice when you are about to ask for something you need. It is the instinct to shrink, to make yourself smaller physically and energetically when you enter a room. It is the nagging guilt that follows a moment of receiving, the quiet fear that you are too much for your friends, your family, your partners. It is the pervasive sense that you must constantly justify your place on this earth through relentless doing, giving, and achieving. because you do not believe you have the right to be here simply by being. This belief was born in the tender heart of a child who learned through 1,000 small interactions that its needs were a problem. Perhaps they were met with a parent's exhausted sigh. Perhaps its spontaneous joy was met with a command to be quiet. Perhaps its cries were seen as a manipulation, its questions as an annoyance. The child, unable to comprehend the stress and limitations of the adults around it, came to the only logical conclusion it could. My needs are a burden. My feelings are an inconvenience. My very presence is a problem to be managed. To be safe and loved, I must minimize myself. And so began a lifetime of apology for the crime of simply existing. Now, as the cosmic parent, you must lovingly and authoritatively dismantle this lie. And you will do so by showing the child the truth of the cosmos itself. I want you to take the child by the hand and lead it into the vast, silent observatory of your mind. Look up at the night sky, glittering with 1 billion points of light. Every single star you see, from the most brilliant supergiant to the faintest dwarf, has its own unique place. Each one emits a light signature that is its alone, a frequency that contributes to the grand, incomprehensible beauty of the whole. Each star is held in a perfect, intricate dance of gravity and light with every other star. Now, imagine one of those stars feeling apologetic. Imagine it trying to dim its own light for fear of bothering the star next to it. Imagine it thinking, perhaps I am taking up too much space in this galaxy. Perhaps I am not bright enough, not important enough to deserve my position. The idea is absurd. It is tragic. The universe does not make mistakes. The existence of the star is its own justification. Its purpose is not something it must achieve. Its purpose is to be what it is, to shine its unique light, to play its part in the cosmic dance. You are that star. Your soul is a point of divine light, and your existence in this world is not an accident or a burden. It is a sacred placement. You were called into being by the same intelligence that ignites suns and spins galaxies. Your unique consciousness, your specific blend of gifts and struggles, is a necessary contribution to the totality of life. To believe you are a burden is to insult the profound intelligence of your own creator. It is to look at a masterpiece of universal design and call it a mistake. For too long, we have lived under the tyranny of a false economy of worthiness. We have been taught that we must earn our keep, that we must prove our value to deserve our place at the table of life. We live in a state of constant, subconscious accounting, trying to accrue enough goodness points through being helpful, productive, or agreeable to justify the space we occupy. The cosmic parent must now step forward and declare this entire economy to be bankrupt. You must teach the child this fundamental spiritual law. Your worth is not earned. Your worth is inherent. It was bestowed upon you in full, at the moment of your conception, and it cannot be increased by your successes or diminished by your failures. It is absolute, and it is unchanging. When you do not believe this truth, the symptoms of the burden belief show up everywhere. In your relationships, you become the chronic overgiver, always anticipating others' needs while suppressing your own. You feel a secret terror that if you were to truly reveal the full extent of your needs, your partner would collapse under the weight and leave you. In your career, you work harder than anyone else for less pay because you feel a sense of gratitude that anyone would hire you at all. You are unable to advocate for your own value because, deep down, you don't believe in it. In your own health, you treat your body's need for rest and nourishment as an inconvenient obstacle to your productivity, pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion and illness, all because you feel guilty for the simple human act of having needs. The time has come to heal this wound at its root. This healing requires a conscious and repeated ritual of reclaiming your divine birthright to exist without apology. As the cosmic parent, you will now guide your inner child through this rite of passage. First, you must speak the truth aloud with the full force of your authority. Place your hand on your heart, look at your own reflection in the mirror, and say these words to the child within. Listen to me now. I am the adult, and I am telling you the deepest truth. You are not a burden. You have never been a burden. Your needs are not an inconvenience. They are sacred signals from your soul. Your feelings are not too much. They are your vital life force. Your existence is not a mistake. It is a miracle. You are meant to be here. I give you, and I give myself, full permission to take up space, to have needs, and to exist without apology. Repeat this declaration until you feel a shift in your body, a sense of settling, of solidity. Next, you will reinforce this new belief with physical action. The body learns through doing. Begin to practice the physicality of unapologetic presence. When you walk into a room, do not shrink. Keep your shoulders back and your gaze level. When you sit on a sofa, take up a comfortable amount of space instead of perching on the very edge. When you speak, allow your voice to have its natural resonance and pace. Do not rush your words as if they are an imposition on others' time. These small physical adjustments send a powerful, continuous message to your nervous system. I have a right to be here. I am safe in my own space. And finally, you must learn to honor your needs as sacred, not shameful. Take out your journal and make a list of your genuine needs without judgment. The need for solitude, the need for connection, the need for rest, the need for play, the need for creative expression, the need to be heard. Look at this list not as a page of demands, but as a sacred text, a user's manual for your own beautiful soul. Then, as a sacred practice, choose one need each day and meet it, consciously and without guilt. Take a nap, not because you have earned it, but because your body needs rest. Call a friend not because you are lonely and desperate, but because your soul requires connection. As you do this work, you are healing the deepest wound of the inner child. You are replacing the old message of, "You are a problem," with the cosmic truth of, "You are a gift." Your unique presence, your light, your energy is a gift to the world. When you stop apologizing for your existence and begin to inhabit your space with confidence and joy, you give everyone around you the silent permission to do the same. You become a liberating force in the lives of others, simply by being yourself, fully and unapologetically. Look up at the imaginary night sky one last time. See your own star, burning brightly in its perfect place. Stop dimming your light in the false belief that you are a burden. The world is not suffering from too much light. It is drowning in the shadows of those who are afraid to shine. The universe is calling to you. Your presence is required. Your light is necessary. Shine. Having affirmed the profound, cosmic truth that you are not a burden, we now arrive at the courageous and practical application of that truth. If your existence is sacred, then the needs that arise from that existence are also sacred. For a lifetime, you have been taught to silence, ignore, or apologize for your needs. Now, as the cosmic parent to your inner child, you must learn the lost and holy art of honoring them. This journey goes far beyond the modern trend of self-care, which often involves little more than superficial comforts. This is about a fundamental reorientation of your relationship with yourself. It is about ending the great betrayal of self-neglect. Every time you push past your body's cry for rest to meet a deadline, every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace, every time you ignore the soul's hunger for beauty and play in favor of productivity, you are reenacting the original wound of the inner child. You are becoming the neglectful parent. You are telling the child once again, your needs do not matter. My agenda is more important than your well-being. To honor your needs is therefore the ultimate act of integrity. It is the practice of aligning your outer actions with your inner truth. It is the moment-to-moment commitment to never, ever abandon yourself again. To understand this, let us return to the garden of your soul. Your being, your body, your mind, your heart is like a beautiful, living plant, and your needs are simply the language this plant uses to tell you what it requires to thrive. When its leaves begin to droop, it is communicating a need for water. When it leans towards the window, it is signaling a need for light. It is a perfect, self-regulating system designed for vitality. Our tragedy is that we have been taught to ignore this language, or worse, to judge it. We see the drooping leaves of our own fatigue, and instead of providing the water of rest, we berate the plant for its weakness and try to prop it up with caffeine and willpower. We feel our soul leaning towards the light of a creative passion, and we pull it back into the shade of our sensible responsibilities. Honoring your needs means becoming a devoted and attentive gardener. It means learning to recognize the different kinds of nourishment your unique plant requires. There is the water of your emotional needs, the need for connection, for empathy, for your feelings to be heard and validated by a safe and loving presence. There is the sunlight of your spiritual and joyful needs, the need for play, for laughter, for creative expression, for a sense of purpose, for moments of awe and wonder. There is the soil of your physical and safety needs, the need for deep rest, for nourishing food, for a secure home, for financial stability, and for safe, loving touch. And there is the need for space, the need for solitude, for quiet, for introspection, for the room to breathe and unfurl without being crowded by the energies and demands of others. A thriving garden requires a balance of all these elements. Our culture has conditioned us to believe in a false hierarchy of needs, one where the needs of others are inherently more noble and important than our own. We have glorified the martyr, the selfless giver, the one who sacrifices their own well-being on the altar of service. But this is a profound spiritual misunderstanding. You cannot sustainably give to others what you refuse to give to yourself. A well that is never replenished will soon run dry. A gardener who does not nourish their own soil will eventually have nothing to offer. Honoring your needs is not selfish. It is the fundamental prerequisite for genuine, joyful, and sustainable generosity. It is the sacred duty of putting on your own oxygen mask first, so that you may then have the life force to assist those around you. So, how do we begin this practice, especially when we are so out of touch with our own inner signals? The first step is to cultivate the art of listening. Your body is speaking to you all the time. Your emotions are speaking to you. You must learn their language. You can begin a simple practice of checking in with yourself several times a day. Pause, take a breath, and ask, what am I feeling in my body right now? Is it a tightness in your shoulders, a hollowness in your stomach, a buzzing energy in your limbs, a deep weariness behind your eyes? Get curious about these sensations. They are the drooping leaves of your plant. The second step is to name the underlying need without judgment. Once you identify a sensation, ask the next question. What does this feeling tell me that I need? That tightness in your shoulders might be telling you that you have a need to release a burden or to set a boundary. That hollowness in your stomach might be a need for literal food, or it might be a need for emotional connection. That weariness behind your eyes is a clear signal for a need for rest. By naming the need, I have a need for rest, you separate it from any judgmental story, like, I am lazy. Needs are neutral. They are biological and spiritual facts. The third step is to take one small, loving action. You do not have to solve the need for all time. You just have to make one gesture of honor towards it. If you have identified a need for rest, it may not be possible to take a 3-hour nap in the middle of a workday. But can you close your eyes for 60 seconds and take 5 deep, restorative breaths? Can you cancel a non-essential evening plan? If you have a need for connection, can you send a short text to a friend just to say you are thinking of them? If you have a need for creative expression, can you take 5 minutes to doodle on a piece of paper? These micro-actions build a powerful new feedback loop in your nervous system. They create a new pathway of self-trust, a pathway that says, when I have a need, I am heard, and I am cared for by my own self. As you begin this practice, you will almost certainly encounter the old gatekeeper, guilt. Guilt is the alarm system of your old conditioning. When you take a moment for yourself, it will clang loudly, shouting, "You are being selfish. You should be working. Others need you." When this happens, you must call upon the voice of the cosmic parent. You do not fight the guilt. You turn towards it with compassion and authority. "I hear you, guilt. I know you are trying to keep me safe according to the old rules of self-neglect. I thank you for your vigilance. However, we are operating under a new law now. The new law is that I am worthy of care. The new law is that my needs are sacred. Thank you, but I am in charge now, and I am safe." By acknowledging the guilt without obeying it, you rob it of its power. You are reparenting the part of you that learned it was only good when it was self-sacrificing. When you commit to the sacred practice of honoring your needs, your life will begin to change from the inside out. You will have more energy, more vitality. You will become more resilient, less easily thrown off balance by the challenges of the world. Your inner well will begin to fill, and you will find that you have more to give to others than ever before. But this giving will feel different. It will not be the draining, resentful giving of a martyr. It will be the joyful, effortless overflow of a full and vibrant spirit. Look again at the garden of your soul. As you tend to it with loving care, providing the water of connection, the sunlight of joy, the soil of security, and the space to grow it begins to flourish. It becomes a place of incredible beauty and life, and a garden that is thriving naturally becomes a gift to the world. It offers its fragrance freely to all who pass by. It provides nectar for the bees and sanctuary for the birds. By focusing on the needs of your own garden, you have made it a blessing to the entire ecosystem. Honoring your needs is not the opposite of serving the world. It is the only way to do it with a whole and joyful heart. It is the most generous act you will ever perform. Once you have begun the sacred practice of honoring your needs, you will inevitably arrive at a new and critical frontier. You will realize that to truly tend to your own inner garden, you must learn to manage the weather systems of the outside world. To say a genuine yes to your own soul, you must develop the courage to say a clear and compassionate no to the demands, expectations, and energies of others. This is where we learn to draw the sacred circle. This is where we discover the profound and misunderstood power of boundaries. The word boundary has been taught to us as something harsh, something that creates separation and conflict. We imagine it as a brick wall we build to keep others out, an act of selfishness or aggression. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. A boundary, in a spiritual sense, is not a wall of separation. It is the loving and necessary definition of your own sacred space. It is not an act of pushing others away. It is the act of holding yourself close. A boundary is the gentle, luminous edge of your own energy field, the place where you end and another begins. It is the quiet, firm, and loving declaration that says, "This is my garden. I am responsible for what I allow to grow here. Your garden is over there. I honor your space, and I ask that you honor mine." For the inner child, the concept of a boundary is foreign. A child often exists in a state of energetic fusion with its caregivers. Its emotional and physical space can feel constantly permeable, subject to the moods, intrusions, and demands of the adults around it. A child who was not given this privacy, whose diary was read, whose feelings were dismissed, whose need for solitude was ignored, grows into an adult who does not believe they have a right to their own energetic integrity. They feel perpetually available, as if their time, energy, and emotions are public property. Setting a boundary for this adult feels like a crime. It is our work as the cosmic parent to correct this. It is our sacred duty to teach the child what it feels like to be safe within its own defined and honored space. Let us use a powerful visualization. I invite you to see or feel yourself and your inner child standing together in a quiet, open space. Now, using your intention, I want you to trace a perfect circle of golden white light on the ground all around the two of you. See this circle shimmer into existence. It is not a hard, opaque wall. It is a membrane of intelligent, loving energy. It is permeable, allowing love, kindness, and respect to flow in and out freely, but it is also discerning. It is a divine filter. You, the conscious adult, the cosmic parent, are now the gatekeeper of this sacred circle. This is one of your most important roles. Your job is not to stand at the gate with a sword ready for battle. Your job is to be a calm, loving, and unshakably firm presence of discernment. As people, requests, information, and energies approach your circle, your job is to ask a simple question of each one. Does your presence here nourish and honor the well-being of the ones inside this circle? Do you come with an energy of respect? If the answer is a clear and resonant yes, it is a supportive friend, a joyful opportunity, a loving exchange. The gatekeeper smiles and opens the gate wide. But if the approaching energy feels draining, disrespectful, manipulative, or chaotic, the gatekeeper's job is simply to keep the gate closed. The act of saying no is not an attack. It is not a fight. It is the quiet, powerful, non-violent act of declining to open the gate. The words may be, "Thank you for the invitation, but I am not available," or "I am not willing to have this conversation while you are using that tone," or simply, "No, that does not work for me." To be an effective gatekeeper, you must become aware of the different kinds of boundaries you are called to set. There are physical boundaries, which concern your body and your personal space. You have the sovereign right to decide who touches you, when, and how. There are emotional boundaries, which are crucial for anyone who is sensitive or empathetic. This is the understanding that you are not responsible for other people's feelings. You can listen to another's pain with deep compassion, but you do not have to take their pain into your own circle. To do so helps no one. It is the difference between feeling for someone and feeling as someone. A loving emotional boundary allows you to be a compassionate witness without becoming a psychic dumping ground. Then there are boundaries around your time and energy, two of your most sacred and finite resources. This means recognizing who and what energizes you, and who and what depletes you. It means having the courage to limit your exposure to people who are chronically negative or chaotic, even if you love them. It means protecting your time for rest, for play, and for solitude as ferociously as you would protect a doctor's appointment. It is the understanding that your well-being is not an expendable resource. Of course, the moment you decide to become a conscious gatekeeper, you will be met by your own deepest fears. The first is the child's primal fear of abandonment. The voice of this fear says, "If I say no, they will be angry. If I set a boundary, they will leave me. I will be all alone." The cosmic parent must step in and soothe this fear with a higher truth. Any love that is conditional upon your constant self-sacrificing compliance is not love, it is control. Any relationship that cannot survive a respectful no is not a relationship built on a solid foundation. True, healthy love respects boundaries. You must be willing to risk the loss of a controlling connection in order to gain the liberation of your own soul. The second great fear is the fear of hurting others. You think, if I say no, I will disappoint them. I will make them sad. This is the dilemma of the empathic heart. Here, the cosmic parent must teach you a crucial distinction. You are responsible to others, but you are not responsible for them. You are responsible to be clear, kind, and respectful in your communication. You are not responsible for their emotional reaction to your boundary, their disappointment, their anger, their sadness, that is their own inner work, their own inner child's pain being activated. To take responsibility for their feelings is to disempower them and to abandon yourself. Your only responsibility is to your own truth. The guilt will come. When you first start setting boundaries, the feeling of being selfish or mean can be overwhelming. This guilt is the ghost of your old conditioning, trying to pull you back into the familiar misery of self-abandonment. When it arises, you must greet it as the gatekeeper. I see you, guilt. I know you think you are keeping me safe by making me compliant. I honor your intention, but I am operating under a new law now. The law that my peace matters. The law that my energy is precious. Thank you for your input, but the gate remains closed. To put this into practice, you can use a simple, powerful formula. First, connect with your inner truth. Identify the need. I feel exhausted. I have a need for a quiet, restorative evening. Second, state your boundary clearly, simply and kindly, using an I statement. I've had a long week, and I'm staying in tonight to recharge. Notice this is not, I'm so sorry, I'd love to, but I'm just so tired, maybe another time. The first is a clear statement of self-care. The second is an apology for having needs. Third, you must resist the urge to over-explain, justify, or defend your boundary. A simple, "that doesn't work for me," is a complete and powerful statement. And fourth, you must be prepared to hold the line. People who are used to you having no boundaries may test them. They may push, persuade, or try to make you feel guilty. Your work is to calmly and lovingly repeat your boundary as many times as necessary. I understand you're disappointed, and as I said, I'm staying in tonight. This practice requires immense inner strength, which is why all the previous steps of this journey have been so essential. It is the cosmic parent, in its full power, showing the inner child what true safety looks like. A life with healthy boundaries is not a cold or lonely one. In fact, it is the opposite. When the people in your life know that your yes is a true yes and your no is a true no, a profound trust develops. The quality of your relationships deepens. You begin to attract people who respect themselves and are therefore capable of respecting you. Your sacred circle does not become a prison. It becomes a beautiful, serene, and well-tended garden, and those who are invited inside know that it is a privilege to be there. They cherish the space and the connection all the more. This is the ultimate expression of the unshakable protector. It is the promise you made to your inner child, made manifest in your daily life. It is the sacred declaration that its peace, its energy, and its well-being will never again be sacrificed for anyone else's approval. And inside the safety of this luminous, protected circle, your inner child can finally lay down its weapons, heal its deepest wounds, and learn to blossom in the fullness of its own being. Now that you have drawn the sacred circle, establishing a sanctuary of safety with your loving boundaries, the child within you begins to trust in a new and profound way. It is one thing to feel safe inside the temple of your own mind. It is another to feel safe enough to peek out from the temple door and look upon the world again. As the child's terror subsides, replaced by a budding sense of security, it offers you one of the most precious gifts imaginable. It offers you its eyes. It offers you the forgotten key to a magical and re-enchanted world. Think for a moment about how the typical stressed adult perceives the world. We move through our days in a state of perceptual slumber. We do not see the world, we see our thoughts about the world. A tree is not a living, breathing miracle of photosynthesis. It is a conceptual label, tree, and an obstacle to be avoided with our car. The sky is not a vast, dynamic canvas of changing light and color. It is merely the weather, a data point relevant only to our choice of clothing. The face of a loved one is not a landscape of beloved, intricate details. It is a familiar composite image onto which we project our history and expectations. A gray film of habituation, of anxiety, of conceptual thought has coated the lens of our perception. We live inside this dusty filter, seeing only our own mental projections, and we wonder why life feels so dull, so devoid of magic. Now, remember the perception of a very young child. For the child, the world is a torrent of raw, unfiltered sensory data. Everything is new. Everything is fascinating. The child's lens is pristine. They do not see a rock. They see a universe of texture, of weight, of temperature, of sparkling mineral deposits. They do not just hear a bird, they are captivated by the unique melody, the sheer miracle of a song erupting from such a tiny creature. The child is in a natural, effortless state of what spiritual teachers call mindfulness or presence. They are not lost in thought about the world, they are immersed in the direct, vibrant, high-definition experience of the world itself. What happened to this pristine lens? Over time, it became layered with the grime of adult consciousness. Every judgment, every worry, every abstract category, every painful memory added another layer to the filter. The label weed replaced the direct experience of a resilient, sun-yellow dandelion pushing its way through a crack in the pavement. The anxiety about an upcoming meeting replaced the sensory experience of the warm cup of coffee in your hands. We became so accustomed to this dimmed, distorted view through the dirty filter that we forgot it wasn't reality. We concluded that the world itself had lost its magic, when in fact, we had only lost our ability to see it. Healing your inner child is the sacred act of cleaning this lens. The child within you holds the memory of what it is like to see with clarity, with wonder. As it begins to feel safe, protected by your loving boundaries, and nurtured by your constant presence, it will begin to do what children naturally do. It will start pointing. It will tug on the sleeve of your consciousness and whisper, "Look. Look at the way the rain is making patterns on the window." It will cry out, "Listen, I love this song." It will invite you, again and again, to leave the noisy, gray world of your analytical mind and to join it in the vibrant, sensory world of the present moment. This is not a regression into childishness. It is a reawakening of a dormant, divine human capacity for wonder. You can consciously practice this reawakening. You can become a willing student of your inner child's perceptual genius. One of the most powerful practices is to go on a wonder walk. Set aside 20 minutes. Leave your phone behind. And as you walk through a familiar neighborhood, pretend that you are an explorer from another planet who has never seen these things before. Look at a mailbox. Do not see mailbox. See its shape, its color, its texture. Notice the way the paint is peeling. Notice the architecture of its hinges. Look at a simple brick in a wall. See its unique shade of red, its rough texture, the precise shape of the mortar around it. By stripping away your mental labels, you allow the raw, unique reality of the object to reveal itself to you. You will be astonished at how much beauty you have been blind to. You can also practice this through sensory meditations. Take a single strawberry. Before you eat it, truly look at it. See the miraculous pattern of its seeds, the deep, impossible red of its skin. Smell it, then take a bite, but chew it slowly, with your full attention. Notice the explosion of sweetness, the texture, the entire cascade of sensations. You have eaten thousands of strawberries in your life, but you may find that this is the first one you have ever truly tasted. Do the same with sound. Sit in a room, close your eyes, and for 2 minutes, simply receive every sound without labeling it. Hear the hum of the refrigerator, the distant traffic, the creak of the floorboards, not as annoyances or data points, but as a symphony of the present moment. This practice of seeing with new eyes is not merely a pleasant psychological trick. It is a profound spiritual discipline. To see the world in this way is to be anchored in the present moment, the only place where life actually occurs. All your power, all your peace, all your connection to the divine exists only in the now. The past is a memory, the future is a fantasy. The child's perception is a doorway that pulls you out of the illusory worlds of regret and anxiety and places you firmly in the living reality of the now. Furthermore, when you perceive the world with this level of detail and wonder, the state of gratitude arises effortlessly. You do not have to try to be grateful. When you truly see the intricate, iridescent beauty of a pigeon's feather on the sidewalk, or the sheer, tenacious life force in a weed, a feeling of awe and thankfulness naturally wells up within you. you begin to understand that you are living inside a miracle. The world reveals itself not as a mundane backdrop, but as a constant, unfolding display of impossible beauty and intelligence. From this state of awakened perception, you begin to notice more. You see the synchronicities, the meaningful coincidences that the universe places in your path. The world begins to speak to you in a language of symbols, of beauty, of unexpected encounters. You can only perceive this subtle, magical communication when you are quiet and present enough to notice it. By seeing through the eyes of the child, you become receptive to the whispers of the cosmos. Life becomes a dialogue. This is the re-enchanted life. You still have your adult responsibilities. You still have to pay your bills and go to work, but you move through these tasks with a new quality of awareness. The morning commute is no longer just a stressful chore. It is an opportunity to witness the spectacular, ever-changing drama of the sunrise. A simple meal is a feast for the senses. A conversation with a friend is a chance to truly see the light in their eyes. The ultimate gift of this journey with your inner child is not just the healing of old pain, but the restoration of your original perception. It is the remembrance that you were born into a state of wonder. The world did not become boring. You only learned to see it that way. Now, you can unlearn it. You can allow the child to take your hand and show you the magic you have been missing. You can choose to see that every breath is a gift, every leaf is a masterpiece, and every moment is saturated with a quiet, shimmering, and absolutely ordinary miracle. As you begin to see the world through the fresh, wondrous eyes of your inner child, as colors become brighter and ordinary moments shimmer with a forgotten magic, you may also become aware of the shadows that still linger at the edges of your perception. There are ghosts in the garden. They are the unresolved hurts of the past, the energetic echoes of betrayals and abandonments that keep a part of your soul tethered to what was. To fully inhabit the sunlit present that you are so beautifully creating, you must undertake one of the most courageous and misunderstood journeys of the human heart. You must learn the sacred art of forgiving what was. Let us begin by dismantling the lies we have been told about forgiveness. We have been taught that to forgive is to condone, to say that what happened was acceptable. We have been told that it means forgetting the pain, as if amnesia were a virtue. We have been told that it requires us to reconcile with those who harmed us, to welcome them back into our lives. And because these definitions feel so unjust, so impossible, we refuse. We hold on to our resentment, our anger, and our grievance, believing that this is our power, our justice. But this is a profound illusion. Resentment is not a weapon you wield against another. It is a poison you drink yourself. It is the act of holding a burning coal in your own hand with the hope that the other person will be scorched by its heat. But the only hand that is being burned is yours. To live in a state of unforgiveness is to sentence your own inner child to remain forever locked in the scene of the crime. You force it to rewatch the moment of its deepest pain over and over again, every day. A significant portion of your precious, finite life force energy is diverted from your present reality, from your joy, your creativity. Your peace and is used instead to fuel the toxic, exhausting fire of old hatreds and sorrows. Forgiveness, then, is the ultimate act of enlightened self-interest. It is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you, it is a gift you give to yourself. It is the loving, courageous, and sovereign act of putting down the hot coal. It is the declaration from your adult self, your cosmic parent, to your inner child. I am no longer willing to allow what they did in the past to destroy our peace in the present. I am taking you out of this prison. The story is over. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about your freedom. It is the act of cutting the energetic cord that binds you to your own suffering and calling all of your power, all of your life force, back home to yourself, here, in the now. This journey of forgiveness happens on 3 distinct levels, each one deeper and more profound than the last. The first level, and the most obvious, is forgiving others. This means forgiving the parents who, from their own woundedness, could not give you the love you needed. It means forgiving the siblings who were cruel, the schoolyard bullies who shamed you, the friends or partners who betrayed your trust. The key to this level of forgiveness is to elevate your perspective without invalidating your pain. You do not have to pretend it didn't hurt. It did. Your pain is valid. But the cosmic parent within you can now begin to see a larger truth. It can begin to understand the concept of hurt people hurt people. The adults who failed you were not evil monsters. They were themselves deeply wounded children, trapped in adult bodies, operating from their own unconscious fears, limitations, and silent vows. Their inability to love you properly was a reflection of their inability to love themselves. Their cruelty was the outward expression of their own inner torment. To see this is not to excuse their behavior. It is simply to understand it from a higher, more detached perspective. It allows you to release them from the mythic role of the villain in your life story. As long as they are the villain, you are forced to remain in the role of the victim. To forgive them is to fire them from their role. You depersonalize the wound. You see them as flawed, struggling souls who played a painful part in your journey, and you release them from your inner world. You let them go, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free from the burden of hating them. The second level, which is often far more difficult, is forgiving yourself. We hold so much resentment against our own past selves. We blame the child for being weak, for not fighting back. We blame our adolescent self for making foolish choices. We blame our younger adult self for not knowing then what we know now. We are haunted by a litany of self-recrimination. I should have left sooner. I should have seen it coming. I should have spoken up. This self-blame is a form of violence we inflict upon ourselves every day. Here, the cosmic parent must intervene with its most profound compassion. It must turn to the child and say, "You did nothing wrong. You survived. That is a miracle, and I honor you for it." It must turn to the younger adult self and say, "I forgive you. You were doing the absolute best you could with the awareness and the tools you had at that time. Your coping mechanisms, which we now see as flawed, are the very things that got us here, to this place of healing. You did not fail. You learned. I release you from the burden of my judgment." You must forgive yourself for the years you spent in self-abandonment, for the times you wore the mask, for the decades you ignored the child's cries. You were unconscious, and the unconscious cannot be blamed. It can only be brought into the light. Self-forgiveness is the act of wrapping your entire history in a blanket of radical, unconditional grace. The third level is the most subtle and the most profound. It is the act of forgiving God, the universe, life itself. This is where we release our rage against the very structure of reality. It is the anger that life contains pain, that children suffer, that things are not always fair. It is the deep, existential grievance that says, "This should not have happened. I was not protected." This is the final and highest form of surrender. It is the release of our argument with reality. Forgiveness at this level does not mean you agree that what happened was good. It means you accept that it happened. You stop pouring your energy into the futile struggle against what was. You let go of the fantasy of a different past. It is in this radical acceptance that a new space opens up. It is the space where you can begin to move from seeing life as something that happens to you to something that happens for you. This does not mean the universe sent the trauma to teach you a lesson. That is a cruel and simplistic idea. It means that the soul, in its infinite creativity and resilience, can take any raw material, even the most horrific, painful, and unjust material, and use it as fuel for the creation of wisdom, compassion, and strength. Forgiveness at this level is the ultimate act of trust. It is the faith that even in the wreckage of the past, there are materials that can be used to build the palace of your future. It is the end of your war with what is. To make this journey tangible, you can perform a sacred ritual of release. Find a quiet time and space. Take a piece of paper and write a letter to the person or situation you are ready to forgive. Do not censor yourself. Pour out every last drop of your pain, your rage, your disappointment. Fill the pages with the words you were never able to say. When you are done, read the letter aloud to yourself. Allow your inner child to hear its pain being fully articulated and witnessed by you, the loving parent. Let yourself feel the emotions one last time, but from the safe container of your adult consciousness. Then, you will perform the act of release. Hold the letter in your hands and speak your intention aloud. I have seen this pain. I have honored this story. I have felt this anger. And now, for the sake of my own freedom, for the peace of my own soul, I choose to let this go. I am dropping the coal. I am cutting the cord. I release you. I forgive you. I set myself free. The final step is to transmute the energy physically. Safely and with great reverence, burn the letter. As you watch the paper turn to ash and smoke, visualize the energetic cords that connected you to that past pain dissolving into light. Feel your life force, which was trapped in that old story, flowing back into your own heart, vibrant and pure. If you cannot burn it, tear it into the smallest possible pieces and release them to the wind or bury them in the earth. A symbolic act of returning that old energy to the elements to be transformed. When you have truly forgiven, your heart does not feel empty. It feels spacious. The past is no longer an active wound, but a healed scar. The person who hurt you is no longer your jailer because you have taken the key from their hand and unlocked the door yourself. Forgiveness is that key. It is the act that allows your inner child to finally walk out of the dark prison of the past, to take your hand, and to step, whole, light, and unburdened, into the infinite, sunlit possibilities of today. After the great cleansing fire of forgiveness, you are left standing in a new and quiet landscape. The cords to the past have been cut, the ghosts have been released, the hot coal of resentment has been dropped, and your hands, though scarred, are finally free. Standing in this new spaciousness, you may now look back at the site of your deepest wound, not with terror or anger, but with a new and sacred curiosity. You are about to discover the final and most profound miracle of this journey. The wound itself, the very place where you were most broken, is about to become the source of your greatest strength. This is the holy alchemy of turning wounds into wisdom. We are taught to think of healing as a return to a previous state, a desire to get over it and go back to how we were before the hurt. But this is a limited ambition. The soul is not interested in simply patching up a hole. It is interested in transmutation. It is an alchemist whose sacred purpose is to take the dense, heavy lead of our suffering and, through the fires of love and awareness, transform it into the shining, pure gold of wisdom. Your deepest wounds contain the seeds of your most profound gifts. The purpose of this journey is not to erase the scar, but to discover the incredible power that lies within the healed tissue. There is no more perfect metaphor for this process in nature than the creation of a pearl. A pearl, one of the most beautiful and valued gems on earth, is not born from a state of comfort. It is born from an injury. An oyster is a soft, vulnerable creature, living peacefully in its shell. One day, an intrudera sharp grain of sand. A parasite forces its way in and lodges itself in the oyster's tender flesh. This is the original wound. It is an irritation, a constant source of pain. The oyster's first impulse is simply to be rid of it, just as our first impulse is to push away our pain with anger, denial, or distraction. But the oyster cannot expel the intruder. So, it begins to do something miraculous. It begins to create a special, healing substance called nacre. Nacre is a luminous, iridescent material, strong and beautiful, and the oyster begins to coat the sharp, painful grain of sand with this nacre, layer after shimmering layer. It does not deny the pain, it surrounds the pain with beauty. It does not reject the wound, it transforms the wound into the centerpiece of a new creation. Over years of this patient, dedicated layering, the source of the greatest irritation becomes the heart of the greatest treasure. The sharp edges are smoothed. The pain is enshrined. The result is a pearl, an object of luminous wisdom born directly from suffering. Your healing journey is this process. Every act of self-compassion, every boundary you set, every tear you allow yourself to cry, every moment you choose to witness your pain instead of running from it, you are secreting another layer of spiritual nacre around your deepest wounds. You are creating your pearl. The most beautiful part of this alchemy is that each specific type of wound creates a unique and specific type of pearl. Your greatest wisdom will always be found right next to your deepest wound. Consider the child who suffered the wound of abandonment, the child who felt unseen, unheard, and left alone. As this wound heals, as you coat that painful grain of sand with the nacre of your own presence, you develop an almost supernatural sensitivity to the loneliness in others. You become an expert in the art of presence. The pearl you create is the gift of profound empathy. You become the person who can sit with another in their darkest hour without flinching, without needing to fix them, offering them the simple, miraculous gift of feeling truly seen. You become for others the very person you always needed for yourself. Consider the child who endured the wound of betrayal, the one whose trust was shattered by a person they loved. The pain of this wound is sharp and cynical, but as you heal it, as you learn to trust yourself again, you alchemize that pain into the pearl of unshakable integrity. Having known the devastation of broken promises, you become a person of your word. You become a bastion of loyalty. You become a safe harbor for the secrets and vulnerabilities of others, a person whose trustworthiness is their defining characteristic. Your wound has made you a beacon of reliability in a faithless world. Consider the child who grew up in a home of chaos and unpredictability, the one who never knew what mood or what crisis was waiting around the corner. The constant anxiety of this wound is exhausting, but as you heal it, as you build your own inner sanctuary and learn to regulate your own nervous system, you create the pearl of peaceful presence. You become the calm in the storm. People feel a sense of peace just by being around you. You develop an intuitive genius for creating environments both physical and emotional of safety, stability, and sanctuary. Your past chaos becomes the fertile ground from which you now grow peace for yourself and for everyone you touch. This is the ultimate reversal. The part of you that was once your greatest liability, your wounded inner child, now becomes your greatest asset. Before healing, the child's unprocessed pain is a trigger point. Its fear dictates your decisions. Its needy energy sabotages your relationships. It is a source of constant inner conflict, but the healed child is transformed. Its sensitivity is no longer a wound. It is a finely tuned instrument of perception. The healed child becomes your moral and energetic compass. When you are faced with a decision, you can now check in with this wise, integrated part of yourself. You can ask, how does this opportunity feel in my body? Does this person's energy feel open and safe, or does it feel constricted and draining? The child answers not with complex logic, but with the instantaneous, undeniable truth of a gut feeling. It is the source of your intuition, a pure signal from your soul, uncorrupted by the ego's agendas. The child's healed sensitivity becomes your most reliable guide. You can practice this harvesting of wisdom consciously. Take out your journal. Choose a wound from your past that you have done significant work on, one that no longer holds the same raw, emotional charge. Now, ask yourself these questions. What positive qualities do I possess today because I went through that experience? What do I understand about compassion, about resilience, about love that I could not have known otherwise? Who have I become because of what I endured? Look at your life today. Do you find that you are fiercely loyal? Do you have a deep capacity for empathy? Are you incredibly resilient? Are you a truth teller? Trace that strength directly back to the old pain. Connect the dots. Name your pearl. My wound of being silenced created my pearl of courageous truth-telling. My wound of being neglected created my pearl of profound self-reliance and competence. Then perform the most radical act of all. Express gratitude, not for the trauma itself, but for the beautiful and powerful pearl of wisdom you have so skillfully created from it. I am grateful for the deep well of compassion I now possess, which was watered by my own tears. This is how you complete the alchemical process. This is how you take your power back completely. Your wounds cease to be a source of shame and become your badge of honor, the testament to your soul's incredible transformative power. And this pearl is not just for you. Your specific wisdom, born from your specific pain, is your unique medicine for the world. The world does not need more people who are perfect and untouched by suffering. It desperately needs more healed people. People who have had the courage to walk into their own darkness and return with light. Your scars become a map you can offer to others who are still lost in the same forest you have learned to navigate. Your past pain becomes your present purpose. This is the final, beautiful gift of the wound, to be transformed into the wisdom that you then offer as a blessing to all of life. Having alchemized your deepest wounds into your greatest wisdom, having held the pearl of your own intrinsic value in your hand, you arrive at a profound and unshakable plateau of inner sovereignty. A quiet, earth-shaking revolution occurs within your soul. You realize, with the calm certainty of a mountain, that you no longer need anyone's permission to be yourself. For most of your life, you have been living in a state of audition. You have stood on the stage of your own life, performing for a panel of invisible judges, the ghosts of your parents, the expectations of your culture, the relentless gaze of your own inner critic. With every choice, every word, every action, you have been subconsciously asking, "Is this okay? Do you approve? Am I doing it right?" You have waited for permission to rest, permission to change careers, permission to leave a relationship that no longer serves you, permission to pursue a passion that others deem frivolous, permission to speak your unconventional truth. You have been waiting for someone, somewhere, to finally look at you and say, "You are now authorized to live the life you desire." This entire paradigm is rooted in the inner child's core wound, the belief that it is not inherently valid. The child learned that its right to exist, to choose, and to be happy had to be granted by a higher, external authority. And so, the adult you has been living life as if sitting in a cosmic waiting room, patiently holding a number, hoping that one day a figure in a uniform will emerge from a closed door and hand you the golden ticket. The golden ticket to your own life. You have looked with envy at those who seem to live with a sense of freedom and authenticity, assuming they were handed a ticket that you were denied, that they were born with a permission slip that you never received. The great, liberating truth that you are now ready to receive is this: there is no ticket giver. There is no cosmic authority waiting to grant you approval. The door to the life your soul longs for has been unlocked the entire time, and the golden ticket you have been waiting for has been in your own pocket all along. You were simply taught to believe that it was a worthless piece of paper, unless it was stamped and validated by someone else. This realization is not a hollow platitude. It is an earned state of being, a direct and inevitable result of the sacred healing journey you have undertaken. You no longer need permission from others, because you have finally become the source of your own. You no longer need external validation because you have cultivated your own cosmic parent, the inner champion who sees your worth and celebrates your essence, regardless of the world's applause. You no longer need permission to take up space because you have healed the lie that you are a burden, and you now know that your existence is your birthright. You no longer need permission to follow your heart because you have learned to honor your own needs, building a deep and unshakable trust in your own inner guidance system. You no longer need permission from the ghosts of your past because you have turned your wounds into wisdom, transforming them from sources of shame into sources of power. Your sovereignty is not an intellectual concept. It is a lived, energetic reality. It is the deep, quiet confidence that comes from knowing that the highest authority on your life resides within your own heart. To live from this place of self-permission means you learn to trust your inner yes and no as the only compass you truly need. When your intuition, the voice of your healed inner child, and your higher self gives you a clear, resonant signal, you learn to act on it. You can proceed with courage, even if no one else understands, even if it seems illogical to the outside world, because you are no longer operating on their map. You are following the coordinates of your own soul. It means you fundamentally detach from the need for the world's approval. You can create your art, speak your truth, build your business, and live your life. And while you may welcome positive feedback, your sense of self-worth is no longer contingent upon it. You can withstand the winds of criticism, disapproval, or misunderstanding because you are no longer a flimsy tent staked in the shifting sands of others' opinions. You are a deeply rooted tree, anchored in the rich soil of your own inner knowing. Most radically, it means you embrace the fact that to live your authentic life, you will inevitably have to disappoint some people. There are people in your life who have a vested interest in you remaining the same, in you continuing to play the role that is comfortable and convenient for them. When you begin to make choices based on your own authority, they may become confused, angry, or feel betrayed. The old you would have crumbled under this disapproval and abandoned your own truth to appease them. The new you, the sovereign you, understands a critical principle. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotional reactions to your authenticity. Their disappointment is their own to process. Your only responsibility is to your own soul's calling. So, how do you begin to consciously wield this power? How do you give yourself the golden ticket? You can begin with a sacred practice of declaration. First, take out your journal and create your waiting list. Write down all the things you have been waiting for permission to do, be, or have. Be brutally honest. I am waiting for permission to leave my stable but soul-crushing job. I am waiting for permission to end my friendship with the person who constantly drains me. I am waiting for permission to invest time and money in my art. I am waiting for permission to simply do nothing and rest without guilt. Next to each item, identify the perceived authority. Whose permission are you really waiting for? Is it your mother's, your partner's, your inner critic's? Is it the faceless entity of society? Naming the judge reveals the illusion. Now, you will perform the rite of self-authorization. You can do this by literally writing yourself a permission slip, a golden ticket, a declaration of sovereignty. But the most powerful way is to stand before your own reflection, look into your own eyes. Call forth the energy of the wise, loving cosmic parent you have cultivated, and speak directly to the inner child who is still waiting. Say the words aloud, I, the highest and sole authority in my life, hereby give you my full and unconditional permission to fill in the blank from your list. You have been waiting long enough. You do not need anyone else's vote. You have mine. The audition is over. You have the part. Let us begin. This declaration must be sealed with action. A belief is only a belief until it is made real through a choice. Choose one small item from your list and take one small, unauthorized step. Enroll in the art class without asking anyone if they think it's a good idea. Block out an afternoon in your calendar for guilt-free rest and honor it. Take the first step toward the new career path. This action, however small, is a powerful declaration to the universe that you are now living by a new set of laws, your own. A life lived from this state of self-permission is a life of exhilarating freedom. It is not a selfish or reckless life, for it is guided not by the impulsive whims of the wounded ego, but by the deep, resonant wisdom of the healed heart. It is a life of integrity, where your inner reality and your outer expression are in beautiful alignment. The lifelong search for permission was always the child's search for a safe and authoritative parent. Now that you have courageously stepped into that role yourself, the search is over. You are the one you have been looking for. You are the authority that matters. You are the one who validates your own golden ticket. Stop waiting in the hallway. The door was never locked. Walk through it. The extraordinary life that has been patiently waiting for you in the landscape of your own soul is ready for you to claim it. Having given yourself the ultimate permission to live from your own sovereign authority, you unlock the door to the most potent, creative, and magnetic force in the universe. You unlock the energetic reality of joy. We must now come to understand a truth that has been obscured by centuries of conditioning. Joy is not merely a fleeting emotion. It is not a reward for good behavior or a lucky byproduct of circumstance. Joy is a state of being. It is a vibrational frequency, and it is the very engine of creation. To grasp this, we must first accept the fundamental nature of our reality. Everything is energy. The chair you are sitting on, the air you are breathing, your body, your thoughts, all of it, is simply energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your dominant, habitual, emotional state is your personal vibrational signature. It is the energetic signal you are constantly broadcasting out into the quantum field of infinite possibility. For most of our lives, we are unconscious broadcasters, sending out signals of fear, lack, anxiety, or resentment, and then we are bewildered when the reality reflected back to us is filled with circumstances that match those feelings. Think of your soul as a magnificent, infinitely powerful radio receiver and transmitter. Your state of being is the frequency you are tuned to. When you are tuned to the frequency of fear, you will only pick up the universe's fear-based broadcasts, news stories that confirm the world is dangerous, interactions that prove people can't be trusted, and experiences of scarcity and loss. When you are tuned to the frequency of anger, you will receive a reality filled with injustice, frustration, and conflict. This is not a punishment. It is simply the law of resonance. The radio can only play the station it is tuned to. The great secret of conscious creation is that you have the power to change the station, and the highest, clearest, and most powerful frequency you can possibly tune into is the frequency of joy. Not the conditional happiness that depends on external events, but the deep, unconditional joy that is the natural state of your own soul when it is free. Joy is the signal that says to the universe, all is well. I am open. I am receptive. I am one with the flow of creation. And what is the purest, most direct access point to this master frequency? It is the joy of your own inner child. Adult joy is often complicated. It can be tangled with ego, with pride in achievement, or with a sense of relief that something bad didn't happen. But the joy of a child is pure. It is joy for its own sake. It is the spontaneous delight in a soap bubble, the uninhibited laughter at a silly face, the total absorption in the act of creation with no concern for the outcome. A child's joy is not a mental concept. It is a fully embodied, physiological event. It is a vibration that shakes their whole body with laughter, that sends them leaping and spinning. This embodied, unconditional, purposeless joy is the closest human experience to the native frequency of source energy itself. It is the frequency of pure, positive creation. This is why all the work you have done has been so critical. Healing your wounds, setting your boundaries, forgiving the past. This was never just about feeling less pain. It was the sacred work of clearing the static from your broadcast. Every layer of shame, fear, and anger you released was a layer of interference you removed from your signal. You have been cleaning the inner machinery so that the pure, clear, high-frequency signal of your child's joy could finally transmit out into the universe without distortion. When you begin to prioritize this state of joy, you are no longer just healing, you are actively creating. The universe does not respond to your pleading words or your wishful thinking. The universe responds to the vibration you are currently embodying. When you hold the frequency of joy, you become a powerful magnet. You begin to resonate with people, opportunities, and synchronicities that exist on that same joyful frequency. This is the law of attraction in its most profound and authentic form. It is not about greedily trying to acquire things. It is about becoming a vibrational match for the reality you wish to experience. You do not chase butterflies. You cultivate a garden so beautiful that the butterflies are naturally drawn to you. Your joy is that garden. So how do you consciously tune your radio to this frequency? This is not about pretending to be happy when you are not. It is not about suppressing authentic sadness or anger. It is about deliberately and consistently introducing the vibration of joy into your system so that it gradually becomes your dominant baseline state. Your first task is to become a connoisseur of your own delight. Take out your journal and create a joy list. Without judgment, write down anything and everything that brings you a spark of genuine, effortless joy. Be specific. It may not be grand things. It might be the first sip of coffee in the morning, the feeling of clean sheets, the smell of rain on hot pavement, a specific song that makes you want to dance, the sound of a cat purring, the sight of a dog gleefully chasing a ball. Your list is a personalized menu of vibrational tuners. Next, you will practice what we can call joy snacking. Throughout your day, intentionally reach for one of the items on your list. This is not about waiting until you have a full hour to dedicate to a hobby. It is about micro-dosing joy. Take 60 seconds to stand outside and feel the sun on your face. Put on that one song and let it fill your workspace. Find a video of laughing babies and watch it. Each time you do this, you are consciously grabbing the dial of your inner radio and tuning it, even for just a moment, to the station of joy. The more you do this, the more your system remembers this frequency, and the easier it becomes to find it again. One of the most powerful tuning tools you possess is the practice of gratitude. It is vibrationally impossible to feel genuine gratitude and to feel fear or lack at the same time. They are mutually exclusive frequencies, but this must be an embodied practice, not a mental exercise. Right now, pause. Look around you and find 3 things you can be grateful for. Do not just list them, feel them. Feel the gratitude for the simple miracle of the chair that is holding you. Feel the gratitude for the light that is allowing you to see. Feel the gratitude for the breath that is moving in and out of your body without any effort from you. Let the feeling of gratitude wash through you. This feeling is a direct pathway to the frequency of joy. The most radical and life-altering step is to begin making major life decisions based on this frequency. When faced with a choice, the conditioned mind asks, what is the most practical option? What is the safest option? What will other people approve of? The awakened, sovereign self asks a different question. Which choice holds the greater frequency of joy for me? Which path feels more expansive, more alive, more resonant with the playful spirit of my own soul? To choose the path of joy over the path of perceived security is the ultimate declaration of trust in the universe. It is the statement that you believe you are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe, and that by aligning with the highest frequency you know, you will be met with grace, support, and miracles. As you commit to this practice, you shift from being a passive recipient of reality to being a conscious creator of it. You are no longer attracting things to you from a great distance. You are simply allowing yourself to perceive and experience the reality that already exists on the frequency you have chosen to tune into. The joyful, abundant, loving reality is always here, always available, just as all radio stations are always broadcasting. Your work is not to make the station exist, but to simply tune your receiver to it. Prioritizing the joy of your inner child is the most generous and spiritually productive act you can undertake. It is not selfish. A person who is vibrating at the frequency of joy becomes a lighthouse in a dark and stormy world. You do not need to preach or to teach. Your very presence becomes an uplifting force. You give others permission to access their own joy. You become a walking, breathing testament to the magnificent possibilities that unfold when a human being aligns their energy with the creative, benevolent, and deeply joyful intelligence of the cosmos itself. You stop being a victim of your life story and become the joyful composer of its magnificent symphony. We have walked a long and sacred path together, a journey that has taken us from the silent, lonely rooms of the past to the vibrant, sunlit gardens of the present. We have learned the language of our scars, taken off the masks of performance, laid down the boulder of perfection, and built a sanctuary within our own hearts. We have witnessed our deepest grief, broken the chains of our silent vows, and rediscovered the pure, high frequency of joy. You have become the wise and loving parent you always needed. You have journeyed back to yourself. And now, we arrive at the final destination, which is not a destination at all, but a revelation. It is the moment of the great reunion. It is the return to the state of wholeness that has always been, and will always be, your true nature. For most of your life, you have lived in a state of inner schism, a quiet civil war within your own being. There was the responsible adult, the one who paid the bills, met the deadlines, and managed the complexities of life. And there was the inner child, the hidden, vulnerable one who held all the needs, the fears, and the messy emotions. You lived in a state of constant negotiation, and often outright conflict between these two parts. Your head said one thing, and your heart felt another. Your logic pulled you in one direction, while your intuition tugged you in the opposite. This inner division is the primary source of human anxiety, indecision, and exhaustion. The entire journey you have undertaken, every step, has been about healing this fundamental split. The roles we have used, the sacred witness, the cosmic parent, were necessary and beautiful therapeutic constructs. They were the scaffolding we erected around the temple of your soul, allowing you to repair the foundations and rebuild the walls. But the goal was never to live with the scaffolding forever. The goal was for the structure to become so sound, so integrated, that the scaffolding could be lovingly taken down. The ultimate purpose of becoming the perfect parent was for the parent and the child to merge so completely that the distinction between them ceases to exist. This is the great reunion. It is the end of inner duality. Imagine your life force as a great river. It was born as a small, clear stream high in the mountains of your earliest experiences. This was your pure, untarnished inner child. As it flowed down into the world, it gathered force and volume, becoming the powerful river of your adult self, carving its unique path through the landscape of your life. But along the way, through hurts and conditioning, you built dams of unprocessed pain and fear. The river became fragmented, forgetting its own source, feeling separate from its own power. The healing work you have done has been the patient, deliberate dismantling of these dams stone by stone. The great reunion is the moment the last stone is removed and the river finally reaches the ocean. In that moment of merging, a profound question arises. Is it still a river, or is it now the ocean? The truth is that the distinction no longer matters. The river has not been annihilated. It has fulfilled its destiny. It has returned to the vast, boundless, and powerful source from which it came, while still holding the memory and the wisdom of its unique journey through the mountains and valleys. Its individual story is now held within the infinite consciousness of the whole. You are no longer just the river. You are the entire ocean, experiencing itself through the memory of the river. What does it feel like to live as this integrated self, this unified consciousness? It is a life of profound and beautiful paradoxes. You now possess both deep wisdom and boundless wonder. The pragmatic, experienced adult self can navigate the complexities of life with skill and discernment. But it does this without the jaded cynicism that often accompanies experience. The innocent, curious child self is now free to look out through your eyes, so you can negotiate a contract in the afternoon and be filled with breathtaking awe at the pattern of frost on a window pane in the evening. You are both wise and innocent, capable and captivated. You embody both profound strength and radical vulnerability. Your strength no longer comes from being armored, from building walls to keep out pain. That is the brittle strength of the fearful ego. Your true strength, the strength of the integrated self, comes from your capacity to keep your heart open. You have the power of the cosmic parent to set unshakable boundaries. Yet, you have the courage of the healed child to love deeply and to feel life fully. Your power is in your openness. Your resilience is in your softness. You live with both focused responsibility and spontaneous playfulness. You can show up for your work, your family, and your community with integrity and commitment. But you do not lose yourself in your roles. You do not forget the soul's need for purposeless joy. You can be fully engaged in a serious project one moment, and then completely absorbed in a spontaneous dance party in your kitchen the next. You understand that true balance is not about giving equal time to work and play, but about bringing a quality of playful presence to your work and a quality of deep commitment to your play. And perhaps most profoundly, the distinction between doing and being dissolves. The fragmented self believes its worth comes from doing. It is constantly striving, achieving, and producing to justify its existence. The integrated self knows its worth is inherent. It can move through the world and create and achieve wonderful things, but it does this from a place of joyful expression, not from a place of needy validation. And it can, with equal grace, slip into a state of pure being. It can sit in silence and do nothing, not as an act of laziness, but as a deep communion with itself and with the present moment, feeling no need to justify its stillness. In this state of wholeness, even the inner dialogue we so carefully cultivated begins to change. The conversation between the parent and the child becomes quieter, less necessary. It is replaced by a state of instantaneous, silent knowing. There is no longer a need to ask, "What do I need?" Because the needing, the knowing, and the acting become one seamless, graceful motion. Your intuition and your intellect are no longer two horses pulling in opposite directions. They are a perfectly synchronized team, moving as one. This is the peace you have been searching for your entire life. It was never in a job, a relationship, or an achievement. It was not in a destination at the end of a long road. The peace was always right here, waiting for you beneath the noise of your own inner conflict. It is the natural resonance of your own soul when it is in harmony with itself. It is the deep, unshakable stillness of the ocean, which is not disturbed by the turbulent waves on the surface. Look at yourself now. The journey was never about becoming someone new or better. It was the sacred process of unbecoming everything you were not. It was the shedding of false identities, the release of inherited fears, the dismantling of protective walls that had become prisons. And now you stand here, not as a perfected version of yourself, but as your true self revealed. You are not just the wise adult. You are not just the vulnerable child. You are the magnificent, paradoxical, and divine totality of it all. The search is over. The river has met the sea. The parent has reunited with the child. You are no longer a fragment looking for wholeness. You are the whole picture. Welcome home. We have reached the end of our journey together, but it is the beginning of a new way of being for you. You have walked a great distance, not to arrive at some far-off, exotic land, but to return to the home you never truly left. You have walked through the shadowed corridors of your own history, not to change the past, but to understand it, to forgive it, and to release its hold on you. You have held a lantern of loving awareness up to the ghosts of old pain, and in that light, they have revealed themselves not as monsters, but as lost and wounded parts of your own soul, waiting to be reclaimed. Imagine yourself now, standing at the edge of a deep, quiet forest, the forest of all that was. Beside you, holding your hand, is your own inner child, no longer afraid, no longer hiding. Its eyes are clear and bright with wonder. Your own eyes are calm and filled with wisdom. You are not two separate beings, one leading the other. You are one, a perfect and sacred union of experience and innocence. Together, you turn your back on the forest, not with fear, but with a peaceful finality. And before you lies a vast, sunlit meadow, drenched in the light of the eternal now. This is where your life begins again, each and every day. As you walk forward into this meadow, carry these truths in your heart. Let them be the new compass that guides your way, the new creed that informs your choices. Repeat them silently to yourself until they become the very rhythm of your breath. I am my own safe harbor. I am my own gentle guide. The universe resides within me. Now, just for a moment, be still. Take a single conscious breath. Feel the air enter your body, a gift from the world. Feel it leave your body, your gift back to the world. And listen. Listen to the silence that follows these words. This silence is not empty. It is a space pregnant with possibility. It is the space for you to finally hear the quiet, certain whisper of your own soul. Let that be the only voice you follow. Let that be the only truth you serve. You have done the work. You have come home. You are enough. You are whole. You are free.